I'll officially open the
6 times
budget meeting, even though it'll get reopened, I guess, with them, for, what's today's date? February 17, 2026. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take it away, Luke. All right, welcome to the February 17th meeting of the Budget Committee. We will follow our little agenda here. We've done the call to order, we've done the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to look at the updated packet that Betty provided for us. So let's have a look-see with that. Betty, would you like to give the 30,000 footer? Oh, the agenda? I don't know, was it on my?
It's all one. Sorry, I only printed.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
She only printed one for me because I'm the boss.
Perfect.
So in this packet, I updated the line item budget, really just adding year-to-date expended in that column of 2026 expended. So that is pages 1 through 8. Page 9 is the updated 4-year budget comparison. Again, just updating that year-to-date, what's been spent so far this year. Page 11 is, I took all of the general fund revenues that we have collected to date and put those in here. This is going to coincide with my anticipated or estimated unassigned. So these are all of the revenues we've collected so far. At the bottom of the page, it shows the property taxes we've collected so far from what we committed, the figure that we had committed. So a net revenue so far without taxes is $724,466. This will, not all of that will roll into the general fund unassigned. Some of these are, oh, nope, none of these are assigned, but there'll be some fluctuation in that. So that follows into page 13. The estimated unassigned, I did hear from the auditor. She had an unaudited fiscal year 25 unassigned balance of $1,084,000. We have to subtract from that what we used for fiscal year 26, what we're in now. So that would have left a $424,000 unassigned balance. If we collect every tax that is due to us from commitment, which I will say we typically do not, and we take the operating, the net revenue that I have on the prior page of 724, and then if we spend everything that we budgeted, which again, I will say we typically do not, and subtract that, we have a potential of a $683,000 unassigned balance that is available to spend for this fiscal year 27 that we are discussing now.
So this could be categorized as worst case?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
May I ask, like, in comparison to previous years, this amount, this final amount, what does it compare to other years?
I would have to go back, and it won't take me long, I can do that, to go back and see what that was after each audit and what we used.
Because I think in fairness, you're getting better and better at figuring this out and dwindling those things down. We will start at when we all started this process, we would get a pretty
Right.
pretty up in the air number.
Right.
And so
Right.
I think again, we never really got, you weren't usually giving worst case back in the day either, right?
No,
So that's another.
No, because, we at one point had quite a hefty unassigned balance, and so we were using over the last 3 or 4 years, we've used over $1 million in unassigned to offset budgets. Now, I think we're getting the budget fine-toothed enough, so we're not rolling so much over into that unassigned.
Which makes sense too. Which is good.
We're cutting and,
Big ticket items are coming up.
Yeah, well, and then that's, unfortunately, that's how the,
Yeah.
We always have
I don't know
Right.
how we did it before we changed the town meeting date. I mean, we were putting budgets together before we ever got the school's commitment, pretty much.
We still are. Oh, we do that
still
now.
do.
She puts a number in. Yeah, she just puts a number with a percentage.
Well,
in
the
it.
bigger issue is a long time ago, we only had the taxes coming in once a year rather than twice a
Yeah,
year. So we
you're
had to
right.
have a bigger surplus to get us.
you're gonna carry over that middle part.
yeah.
But in the school thing, usually you pretty much have a very good idea by the time town meeting rolls around,
Correct.
what that expense is.
Yes, close. And then the next 4 pages are my own calculated fund balances. So in the last 2 years, I've been running these tallies myself and not just waiting for the audit to be finalized. So again, these are year-to-date. These are beginning balances from last year, what we have either collected for revenue or appropriated, and then what we have expended out of each of these.
These are committed funds, Betty, correct?
Correct. So these are funds that can only be used for what they are named and designated for.
Can I ask you a question? State stream fund?
Yeah, I
What do we use that for?
Yeah, so that is something there's a few of these actually that I need to look in MMA and see how we actually transfer funds, whether it has to be at town meeting. So some of these balances have been left over, like the stream fund was left over when we did the culvert on Moose Pond. So that's money that we can, I think we're gonna have to at town meeting because it was designated at town meeting.
But we could move it somewhere.
Move that.
To the next culvert.
Same thing, some of these are small, canopy grant. That was actually for the community forest, the Wabanaki boat launch. To me, we should roll those into the unassigned, but.
What about the broadband? We're done with that, aren't we?
So, and again, the town broadband, yes, that's 7,000. So these were gonna be some items that I bring to the select board in the near future. Page 19 is the projected mill rate scenario. When I did this, I kept the 350,000 in there for the capital, and then added 600,000 for the salt and sand. I did a few scenarios out there, and then I deleted the 350,000, added 600,000 for the salt and sand, and did out the same scenarios. I used the typical deductions that we usually do, which adds up to 447,000. Every year we do excise tax, revenue sharing. We usually take from DOT, although you'll see the DOT fund is also getting down there. And I kept, everything else the same for real estate values. I did increase our school budget by 3% because that seems to be the average that it's been in the last couple of years. So you'll see those scenarios there. I typically don't do this, but I did. Town manager's suggestion after looking at these scenarios and looking at our fund balances. So I know we'll probably dive into that more, but any questions as of now on that?
Nope, pretty straightforward.
The next 2 pages is, I thought, well, maybe we need to bring up again, maybe bonding the salt and sand shed. So I again did a little research on this. It does look like in the last couple of years, interest rates have gone from 4.25 to 5.25, so I ran some scenarios there. I did do it at 500,000, thinking that we would probably come up with 100,000, to put towards it, but again, just some food for thought. We always do have bonding that we can turn to. The following document is the town, and I say this because the auditor brought it up. The town does have from 2016, when was this signed? 2016, a fund balance policy that actually sets the unassigned at 850,000, or is recommended.
Max? A max?
Initial minimum.
Oh,
The
just a minimum.
minimum.
Oh, okay.
Again, that's supposed to cover, in case we do not collect taxes at 3 months. I can figure out, and this is again something I was gonna bring to the board, this is almost 10 years old.
Plus, the next two sentences say, should be reviewed
Yeah.
at least every 3 years, but maybe updated annually. So
For
it gives
some-
you the opportunity
Yeah,
to
for
adjust
some
it.
reason, I thought this was updated. Luke, I thought
I thought we looked
you
at this
guys
too.
had updated
Yeah, I thought we
that.
looked at this too.
I
That's-
cannot find anything but this. I will continue searching.
No, I know we talked about that, but I don't know that we
I don't know
could
if we-
formally go through and.
Yeah, I
do this.
don't,
Okay.
I don't remember signing anything, but.
And then page 27 is transfer station cost over the last few years. This is what we've paid for waste demo to Maine, Pine Tree. So you can see there's been, and it's going to be a big hike in Maine, a 30% increase in waste and a 13% increase in recycling. Again, I think I had mentioned at the last meeting that I had just met with them that day. They've sent some proposals. If we sign those proposals before, I think it's March 31st or April 1st, then we will continue at our current rate of the 9608 through the end of September, when our contract would officially renew, and then jump into these 125s, and those would be there until July of 27 instead of January of 27, or sorry, I think it's, no, it is July, so instead of increasing this year, sorry. And then Bob had calculated for calendar year 2025, the tonnages that has been shipped out. So I took, the current rates in 26 that we would be paying compared to the 25 rates. So just again, a little food for thought. I still think what we have budgeted in there will cover even these increases.
Okay.
So it's costs us more for the recycling than the waste is, am I reading that correctly?
You are. And one reason of that, there is actually a new program that the state started that he sent me information on, that communities can get some reimbursement money, I guess they're calling it, from the state for
Throw it all in waste.
having
Yeah,
a
right.
recycling program.
Otherwise, throw it all in waste.
Yeah.
So
They're telling you to throw it all in waste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that was my first thought.
On the recycling, they charge us the flat rate initially, and then they calculate what they get back in the recycling when they sell it, and then they reimburse the town a percentage of it.
So what does that, do you have it on, from what it was the previous year, or what this year currently is? or-
I don't see those figures.
Yeah,
I'll get it.
it still might only
I
come to a
did that.
wash almost,
It's-
even if you get a
I'm
little
gonna
back.
tell you, it's under probably $2,500 a year.
Oh, so it's meaningless.
It might be around 2,500. Again, it depends what the commodities are doing.
What would stop a town, or prevent a town from discontinuing their recycling program at fees like this? I mean,
There's the other compactor they want right there.
The
Take the cardboard and recycle.
fact that, I'm assuming people like it,
Well, we don't have a lot of
the
recycling.
notion of
We don't have a
recycling.
lot of
Correct.
recycle. It's
well,
only 10
yeah,
grand.
I mean that,
I know,
but
but
I mean,
you-
for a town, when you
No,
explain
the
to
one
the
that they
town
use
the
for the
expense
recycling
and the
will be the trash.
Oh,
return,
that's right, that is a compactor, you're right.
I mean, that's a thought that you could make to your the residents.
Is there any requirement by the state? We don't have to have it. There's nothing that says certain size or anything like that.
Unless this
So-
new law and program, which I said I just
Which
received.
they probably won't
from
fund with
Ecomaine.
money anyway, so you're not gonna get anything back, the way they work.
Another wonderful state program.
Yeah, you're right, there's already compactor there.
Yes.
Throw
Yeah.
all waste.
I mean,
It's sad, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it's already set up.
Those, Donnie would tell you, just stick it in there. Well, just stick it in there, it's all going here anyway.
And then the last few pages, and apparently there are 2 blank pages, apparently just a printing or feeder error, is information on the wheeled excavator that Bob had mentioned last week, and then the 2 proposals that we had received from Iron Horse on a salt shed building. I have spoken or have been emailing. I thought you could take notes on that.
I bring my own, bring my own.
I did email and get a response back from Harrison. I had mentioned that last week also. So they are just starting their RFP. Once they have that draft, they'll send it to me, but we are both wondering if we can do something together, we might get a better deal. So was going to talk to the board about that. Also, once we kind of get to that stage, I'll reach back out to him. He did say that they have a grant writer, and they have not been able to find any grants to cover a salt shed building.
Can I ask you a question? The second proposal breaks it down. What's the 190,000 for?
So he threw in there, which I didn't
Yeah,
understand
'cause
either.
it's like 40 grand more than doing it all at once.
Yeah, so he threw in there another cost of a different foundation than what was on the first.
Because it still says 6-foot-high concrete block foundation. It says
Yeah,
the same.
and for some reason, they've added building a liner of 2x4 inside of the concrete.
For another 40 grand,
Yeah.
or 30 grand or whatever.
And then actually the last page, which is not numbered, is road projects, projected road projects. It's actually the remaining spring road projects of 2026, and then the projected for 26, 27.
Didn't we just,
So these
when was
top 3 are
Hancock
the remaining
Road?
number
Wasn't that only like a
ones
couple of
below.
years?
Is that correct?
Correct.
Did they ever do that? Oh, no, maybe that was Hancock. I'm thinking.
Higher Ridge, they just did. Higher Ridge recently they did.
I could ask.
I don't know if Bush Road will recover from this winter. Oh my God.
Tough shape.
Oh, it is back to its old,
Oh man, down once you get towards Granger Pond, it's
yeah.
to the top of the hill.
And so that is the updated package.
Thank you.
All right, we go home.
It's not just fall off one night. All right, so, and it is what it is. We didn't get this until recently, so people want to discuss some of these items now, or we want to wait and have some time to digest them, and we can circle back on them next week. We do have department heads, Public Works and Fire Department to get to today, as well as discuss this, so I'll put it out there to the members. So do you guys want to be able to take some time to digest this and talk about it?
I just assume Bob's here.
Right, yeah, I agree, right? Yeah, nope, I agree, I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Okay, so thank you, Betty.
I left my pen. Pencil in the middle.
Yeah, you want red?
You know that's what, teacher, right?
Yeah, I know that, that's what I'm saying.
Everything's in red.
He usually does, that's
No,
what
I
he usually
do.
goes with, yeah, he likes to hack and slash, that's really easy to mark it up. All right, then we'll move on to new business, department heads, Public Works and Fire Department. That's you.
Yes, I am. Am I blocking you again?
That's okay. You can stand right up if you want.
So Public Works budget starts on page 5.
Thank you.
If we're, which one do you want to tackle first?
Yeah, Public Works first.
Five of the packet that I handed out tonight. Sorry.
Gonna babysit me.
So just something to bring up too, just for us looking down this thing right there, you're gonna see the last one, which is the request, and the one next to it is not last year's request, just to make sure everyone sees that this is what's expended, so we got this.
What's that?
So when you look at the columns, Russ, right, the furthest one to the right is what the 27 request would be.
Right.
Just the next one next to it. When I started looking at this the first time, I'll always look column to column, and
Right.
that's what's expended, not what was requested last year.
Right,
So okay,
exactly,
and I just want to make sure everyone
Yeah,
understands that.
I'll expect, yeah. that's
Right. So
yeah.
the previous year's budget is 2 columns over.
Correct. Yeah.
Just if you're looking for see what the increase
The
would be.
difference, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think in the first one, it was a percentage.
On the comparison
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't do a line item percentage for each.
Yeah. That's fine. Bob, take it away. Highlights, lowlights.
Actually, I tried to keep in the budget what I had last year. We've been able to work within that budget. We've had some lines that went way out of whack this year, being the maintenance line for the equipment. Took a big hit the first month in July at $30,000 fixing 2 pieces of equipment. So that kind of threw the bottom line off. So I kept pretty much everything the same. Some of the cost increases were basic electricity. Some of the items I don't have control over. But basically that's what I've got planned for the year, you know. To
Which truck you gonna replace next year?
The 16 Mack,
Oh, the Wheeler?
the wheeler.
Wheeler.
The excavator I put in for, which currently have like $190,000 in the capital equipment fund. That's what I was gonna take that money out of. The cost of the excavator in pricing wise is like $195. So I asked for $200. And then if we can fund another $10,000, I was gonna take that out. If you approve the $150,000, that would normally go into the capital equipment fund. I was just gonna take some of that to fund the rest of the excavator.
And then what happens when we need the truck?
And then next year,
We're gonna
put
put more
another
money.
$150,000, and it would cover the cost of the truck.
Is there a reason we need a new truck? Or is it just a 10-year
It's
window?
just the program.
But the truck's perfectly okay?
That's why I'm extended it out another year.
But can it just
To
keep
get that.
getting extended and maintenance, proper maintenance on it?
Like,
I mean, I know in the past we've had issues with vehicles and things, so it was kind of one of those, it was made sense to buy a new
Yeah,
one.
it's-
But I mean, just because it's 10 years out or whatever, I mean, the
It's-
truck
you
stays
look-
pretty local and, I
You gotta
mean,
look at the trade value, what you can get in for it or what you can sell it for.
but if you keep it for a couple of years, what's the
Yeah.
cost of that too? And you're putting, maintenance and small maintenance into it as opposed to spending 300,000-400,000.
you start dealing with the emissions on them, that gets
What,
pretty
did we just have
expensive.
towed?
And then you gotta buy
Yes,
two.
we just had that truck towed last week for emissions issues. So that's up at O'Connor's now being fixed.
Yeah, but is it gonna get fixed and it's good, or is it gonna keep happening? I mean, it's just one of those things where,
It's hard
I mean-
to say with the emissions.
Yeah.
Sometimes they last and sometimes they don't.
there's a lot of big ticket items, and I know it's nice to have that schedule, but, there's a lot of
agree.
things coming up, and I mean, the building, first off, is the main thing. Unless you want to sit and put the town in debt and debt and debt to do something, I think personally that's the major thing, is making sure we have money to start to pay for this salt shed thing.
What's
Yeah.
the next truck scheduled after that if we fall on the 10-year cycle?
The next one after that is the 550. And that's in 28, I believe.
In 2028?
Yes.
That's what I say. The issue is if that one ends up being in worse shape, and then this one after 2 years, then you're buying
Two trucks.
two trucks.
That's why the schedule's a schedule.
Well, right, and the other thing we
Deferred
gotta,
maintenance.
yeah, and the other thing you gotta look at too, right, is that we typically done these 3-year payment options, right? And so if we're gonna do something like that, right, you're gonna end up doubling up on this one for a year. You know, if the 550 can't slip, then you're gonna end up, because these are like 2 years apart, 2016, 2018. So to 26 and 28, you're not gonna have one paid off before the next one's up again. So you're gonna be looking at a situation where you're trying to make 2 truck payments in 1 year, potentially. Unless if you, so again, I think deferring beyond this year, right, then you set yourself up to pay 2 years, making 2 truck payments.
Well, how much
If
is the approximate cost of a new truck
the Wheeler?
today?
The Wheeler's about 190.
No, I'm not talking about the wheel, you're talking about the,
The 550,
I'm
probably.
The 2016 Mac,
Yeah, I'm
we're
talking about the trucks, the
estimating
Wheeler.
about 346,000.
well, there's 200 in the fund right now.
Yeah,
If
so
you, if you hold
the-
that till next year and
price-
put another 150 in, you got your truck.
Replacement price of the Mac is gonna be less than what we estimated.
But I think there's,
Right,
you have,
prices stayed about the same as what we paid for the last one.
but we already have almost 200 in there in the capital fund for, so I mean, if you wait another year and you gotta put some more in it, you got your money for the Mac next year.
All right, so 4.
It's one scenario, I'm just saying.
Right, so 345 you said for the Wheeler, approximately,
I mean,
Betty?
Well, that's what we had estimated.
It's about 300,000.
You think 300,000 does it, Bob? Okay, and then do we, again, a ballpark number here, what's it gonna cost to replace the 550?
About 150,
That's with all the
1 year.
trimmings?
yes.
Okay. And then the excavator was, you were asking for 200, right?
Yeah.
Just so I have that. So 650 in the next,
3 years after this year.
well, right, I mean, the 550 wouldn't be all of it though, right? So I'm just trying to think to the end of that payment, right? So 20, so 31, for now 31, right? It's next 6 years.
With your plow trucks,
But I really
like,
can't look at that way
you
because
have
you couldn't
the
make.
2016 is
Okay.
being repaired right now.
can't
In
look at it.
comparison, what is the quality of each of the trucks right now? Maintenance-wise? Is
Maintenance
some
wise,
in better shape than others, is what I guess what I'm asking.
the 2016 needs some bed repairs. It's actually a wear item that we'll have to take a look at this summer. It's just a part that gets bolted and welded in place.
That's a simple maintenance, that's a typical
Yeah,
maintenance.
that'll be, I say it's a wear item. Unforeseen stuff is the emissions, which can be costly. especially if you get into cleaning the exhaust system, you're looking at $7,000 or $8,000 to do that.
What about the other trucks?
The
How are
other,
they in condition? And
the other trucks are in pretty good shape. The 550's got 50,000 miles on it. It's got a lot of idle time. Again, the biggest issue we've had with the 550 has been the emissions. So that's one of the big ticket items we had last July. We had $10,000 in repairs to fix that fuel system and emissions on that truck. So like I said, the unforeseen stuff is with the repairs of the trucks that is the emissions.
what about the other?
The pickup's in good shape. The Internationals is new. The Western Star is new, so we shouldn't see any major issues with those trucks for 8 years.
The last truck, did we did it in payments, did we not? We didn't buy it outright, right? We did
We did.
payments,
No.
3 years?
I thought
3 years.
we paid
paid it
it.
outright.
We had-
Yeah, he stood up at the town
Oh.
meeting and took it out of the unsigned.
Oh, okay, so we paid for
It's
it
been a
all
while
in
since
one.
we've.
For 25,
Maybe the
yeah.
backhoe was is that the only thing that we made payments on?
No, backhoe, I thought we paid outright too.
The one before this, I think.
That wasn't
They paid
that much.
outright for 'em.
I thought the two. Yeah, I thought it was two.
We were gonna do the trucking payments, but he, like I said, he stood up at the town meeting and made a motion to take it out of the unsigned.
Yeah, there was
The
a,
interest we saved.
yeah, there was a truck at one point in time that we did make payments
I thought
on.
we- I
Yeah,
thought it was-
when
I thought
Kenny
that
was here.
Yeah, okay.
Was it before that? I think it was before that.
Don't worry about it, they're all paid for.
Yeah,
I thought they're definitely, like 150 rings the bell in my brain.
I almost thought that was like the backhoe before this.
It could be.
The one backup we did, we made payments
I
on.
think it was not the last one, the one before.
I think so.
So
Three
I'm
payments of 70.
trying to think in my head, right? So this year we have to do this. We have to do a salt shed, right? We have to. Like, that's something we're gonna have to do. So that's $600,000 potentially that's gonna have to get.
I wasn't a part of that discussion, but is there a way, like, is the foundation still there?
No.
Is everything's going?
No, the foundation is no good, that's there.
So you
we-
can't, like, say,
So the foundation's no good too?
Yeah,
Is that still there?
that's still there right now.
Is
there
that
a
why,
way
is that why it had to be written down, because of the foundation?
Part of the reason was the foundation.
Now it's the building.
The major part was the building itself was collapsing.
It was the foundation, we could have done something.
So it's- none of it could have been repaired or anything refixed?
Retrofit truck or something like that.
No, from the engineering report that we got back, they said that we could potentially brace sections of it as we were building, but the best thing for it would have been a post right up the middle, because all of the sections themselves were rotting and just kind of collapsing down onto the one below. And then the last row of sheathing and a lot of the sill plate was
So
like
did that have to be
sawdust.
torn down right away?
It did.
I mean,
It's
'cause
not safe to be in, right? So
It
what
was
happened
not-
was the liability of having somebody in there.
it was not safe to be in, but then we had people in there digging the sand out,
Sure.
okay?
So it's a minimum.
So,
minimum risk, right?
could that have been shored up to get it another year or two out instead of putting a town meeting out here, okay, now we gotta come up with $600,000 for a thing that maybe could have got us by for another year or two, to bring it to the town's people to let them know that we got a big ticket item. I mean, it's kind of a kick in the teeth as far as I'm concerned, to finally come to town meeting and say, we need another sand shed? Didn't we have one there? We had to rip it down. I would have thought that would have gone out to a notice to the townspeople, maybe in the paper, and say, look, we may have to rip down our sand shed. Would people come to a public hearing to maybe be more informational about it? I mean, that's tax dollars that we just ripped the building down. That'd be like ripping down this building. I like Donald Trump taking the back part of the house, White House off. I'm just saying, I think I don't know, I think that's a lot of money right there to rip down, and then you go to town meeting, people say, didn't we have the sand shed?
So in defense of the board, this was on our agenda for probably 5 weeks, 5 agendas at least.
What,
That we were
But was
having
it
an
in the
engineer
news?
report
Was it-
done, what the engineer report said, then the board took a little
Was it on the
while
sign out
to
there?
decide.
Was it in
We
the-
didn't have the sign at the time.
Did you have it in the newspaper?
Yeah.
I mean, I heard about it
I
secondhand.
heard about it after it was down.
Right. And I just think you could have, as a board, you could have been more upfront and letting people know, like having an article in the Bridgeton News.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Or something on social media, on your Facebook page, just letting people know about it, just being more aware of it. I mean, Denmark's usually really good about letting the people know what's going on. That's a big ticket item.
Yep.
I'm not yelling at you, but I think you could have done better for the townspeople of letting people know about this expense. And it's an unplanned expense. You know, it's not 25,000, it's $600,000.
600,000, if we can do
That's a
600.
lot of money for people, especially in the economy today.
Is there, there was no part of that insurance could take a certain portion of? What was the reason that?
It was never well maintained.
So that the insurance, the adjusters came and that was what they said?
It wasn't an insurance adjuster. We had hired an engineering firm to come and look at it because over the summer, even without any load on it, you could see that sections were collapsing and falling onto each other.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, like, did we place a claim?
No, because it's wear and tear, it's maintenance.
I would have liked to let them, our insurance company, tell us that. It wouldn't hurt to
So
try.
I did contact the insurance, and they said, you know, it was a good thing you took it down because we had an engineer report that said that it was a liability to the town and dangerous.
where did we come up with the money for the engineer and to tear the building down?
Some of it came out of the road fund, some of it came out of unanticipated.
See, I mean, I don't know how much you guys can, you know, change this much stuff around to get money up here, but it's $600,000, and plus we pay to have somebody tear the building down, we have to pay an engineer. I think, I don't know, I just think it was a little premature myself.
If you were going to retrofit that thing to make it stable again, unless you would have paid an engineer anyway to tell you how you would have to have done it, right? So I just tell you that's how it would have to have been done.
Okay.
You would have to, and so I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying that cost, that engineering
But I
cost probably would
still
have.
think that
And that's fine.
we got a lot of money up front there that we should at least let the town people know, say, look, put a thing in the, notice in the paper, say, we need to replace our sand shed. We're gonna have to tear it down. Instead of tearing it down, and then people go, gee, what happened to the sand shed? People are gonna get their town report and gonna say, why do we need a sand shed? We had one. They should have never built one in the first place, as far as I'm concerned. But, I mean, we had one and now we ripped it down, and I don't know, I think it was, I don't know, I'm not with it. I mean, I know I'm up there in age now where $600,000 is a lot of money to me.
It's a lot of money to anybody. $600,000 is a lot of money.
But,
That's why.
I mean, I'm at the age where Rod retired, Lee's retired, a lot of people are retired. Your tax bill keeps going up 10, 15% a year. It's starting to hurt people.
we don't disagree.
And people can't afford to build a house, buy a house anyway. Young people can't afford a house. And we're gonna price them out with taxes, so I mean, I don't know, I think it's something that should have been put out front. I mean, I know it's hindsight now, but I think maybe some boundaries might have been overstepped there.
So, $600,000 is still something that's going to have to come into play in this budget cycle.
Maybe, maybe not. That's what townspeople want.
Sure. I mean, you're right. Maybe not. So, I guess, fine.
Is there a way to like, to help fund this, is searching out grants?
No, she already tried that.
Right.
There's nothing, I know you said something early on, but there's nothing out there that,
No, I searched, I found a few that were quote-unquote public works grants, but not for buildings. It was more for infrastructure, putting in sidewalks of such. And Harrison, as I said, they have a grant writer specifically, and they've searched and haven't found anything.
Is there another, in those grants where we have to do, like just flipping what you just said, within those grants with the expenses that we're planning this year, is there anything that those grants could help fund that would offset doing the salt shed and whatever other vehicles and expenses? Is there anything, to just flip it on the other way and say something that we typically would fund, that a grant would fund it?
Typically, the grants that I've looked at, they're calling them community resilience grants, and so you have to relate it to you building something, infrastructure that is going to, one, be environmental, either bring something up to environmental specs, or two, safety, like, a lot of them is for sidewalks.
So like, I know this is stretching it, but just throwing an idea out there that maybe somebody in the meantime can come up with something, a better thought. But like we're raising money for a new vehicle that has emissions controls. I mean, this is a real stretch, but would the grant help that where it has emissions and whatever, and it's the most modern
So
technology?
I don't know if I've ever actually found, even in the firefighter, found a grant that will cover a vehicle. Right? Have you ever come across, Bob?
For vehicles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Public works vehicles?
Not public works
Yeah.
vehicles, just fire vehicles.
Well, didn't we get one truck after 9/11? Didn't we get a truck after that? Because they didn't
That's a familiar.
Ephraim might
But that
have.
was 25
But I mean, that was something that was
Yeah.
Homeland Security. They had grants and stuff. They give people,
Yeah.
towns money for.
So
That's quite a while ago, wasn't it?
I just
25 years ago.
Oh, no, more than that.
I had a couple questions as to how we,
I think my daughter was
with
this tall.
this budget that you've got going, Betty, right? The numbers that you've been figuring on. So let's just talk about how the numbers are being funded. Let's say. So you have $600,000 in there for a salt shed of some sort. Is that correct?
Under the estimated mill rate scenarios, yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And so that money in your scenario, is it being raised and appropriated?
Yes, on one of these scenarios.
Okay. And then I won't go through them all, right? So, okay, the excavator, which you have almost all of in that particular capital equipment fund, so you would be raising and appropriating the balance, 14,000, whatever the balance would be, right?
Right.
Is that an accurate statement? Okay. And then you're talking about putting another 150,000 back into that capital, and that's going to be raised and appropriated next year? Bob, is that what you're sort of,
Yeah.
right? Because we wouldn't raise and appropriate anything this year for that fund?
It would be this year, and then.
So you're raising and appropriating $150,000 this year, every year going
Every
forward.
year,
Okay.
yeah.
So, right, so that's one of those things where,
$1 million.
right, exactly right. And so that's where I'm at, right? I look at the salt shed, wheeler, 550, and the excavator, just, again, the next 5 years, 4 years worth, 3 years worth of expenses, even though some of them, whether they get deferred in payments, it doesn't matter. It's 1.250 million, right, in those couple of things. So I think we've got to look at, an order of necessity, right? And so the only caveat to that being is that $186,000 can't get spent on anything except for a piece of equipment. So whether or not we, choose to take $150,000 we may have put into the capital equipment fund this year and put that into, so that goes away and goes into the salt shed fund or whatever, right? So you're defraying a portion of that cost by not changing the budget perhaps, but moving a line item over so that you're only having to raise $450,000 additional to what, you know what I mean? So that's a way to start to look at it, how you can move through some of these numbers, and it would mean putting the excavator off for a year. And then that money still sits in that account, but it just doesn't get utilized this year. And I know that that might not matter, but we may look at it again next year and say, okay, well, maybe the committee next year will say, we still don't like that idea. We can use this $340,000 we have to buy a truck with, because that's what we need it for. So again, I'm just, that's a way to sort of push, because I don't think that the excavator, while you can certainly fund it with what you have, and it's ergonomically, it's an advance, and you probably will get certain things done faster having it, and you can do more things on your own probably by having it. If it's, in my mind, you know, is it a necessity for our public works department to have? I know you'd really like to have one, but we have the tools we have, and you're getting the job done, and all the kudos to you. You're getting the job done with what you have for equipment now, and I don't see those tasks, if you will, becoming different in a year. So if we were to push that decision off a year, leaving that money in the capital equipment fund, and we don't add to it this year, like we were trying to do every year. And I know that that's not what the board was looking, what the town was looking to try to do, but that's $150,000 off the top, which is usually one on the mill, plus or minus, right? So you take the numbers and you can.
Do to help.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? So you can take those numbers and you might be able to drop that mill by 1%, right? If that's what, or $1. How much is $1 on the mill that's right now? So it's like 50 cents, I guess, maybe, right? 2.8 is what we're raising appropriating? Well, 4, but the town portion of it, 2.6?
The town portion of, I'm
2.8?
sorry,
Yeah, the town portion of the budget, the municipal operating portion of the budget, 2.8?
2.8 if we do no capital and add the salt and sand.
No capital, right, okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So, so that scenario is,
Scenario 2 on page 19.
Yep, right, yeah, and that's, that's the bottom one, right? 150 building, 150K unassigned.
Yeah,
That's 350 for capital adding, deleting the 350 for the capital. So that's the, well, 350 for the capital, but that's 150 that we'd be putting in. What's the other $200,000?
the excavator.
Oh, but that's pulling money out of an account that we couldn't do anything else with either, right?
Right, but not knowing, I mean, I have to figure the total
As raised and appropriated.
as raised and appropriated until it's decided how
How to fund it.
to fund it.
Okay. All right. So that's an interesting tidbit to have too, Russ, right? In these numbers.
What page are they?
Page 19. And I like to re-say it just so everybody feels like, so I feel like I understand it fully by saying it out loud, but hopefully everybody understands it the same way saying it out loud, because I don't want to misinterpret or lead somebody down. Don't want to misinterpret anything.
Right.
So, all right, so scenario 2, Russ,
Yeah.
which is deleting the $350,000 for the capital, which Betty, when she figures it, has to figure it all as being raised and appropriated through taxes, right? So all this money is being raised and appropriated through taxes until
Right.
until we all decide about how we'd like to suggest that the board allocates money, right? So that last one, 100K for the building and 150,000 from the unassigned, would get us down to the smallest mill rate. But I guess that's not quite true. But I don't think we can. That 300,000 in the middle for the unassigned fund seems like it's maybe out of reach this year. But
Yeah.
I know you don't think the same way. But
Well, no, but I mean, if we've got that worst case, the scenario, but I bet you're 400, I don't know. Well, I bet it's close to $1 million,
but
again, based on those figures, or 1.1. The worst case scenario, what was 400,000?
680.
I don't think we're gonna hit $1 million at the end of fiscal year 26, because that 724,000 is figured into my estimate. So
So when it says 100K building, what is that?
that's taken 100,000 out of the capital building fund.
Okay. And that fund has $109,000 in it right now. That's on page
18.
18, for all those following along at home. Those 3 or 4 pages, yeah, those ones, that's the ones that have a page number on it, actually, the 18. All right, so that comes out of that, and you take 150 out of the unassigned, and that's how you get to that 944.
Yep.
And so the same thing, but so that would be deleting the excavator and
Putting anything away.
and putting that anything back in the capital
Correct.
equipment fund, right?
Correct.
Okay. So it'd be leaving the capital equipment fund alone as it is for this year, right?
Yep.
Without doing anything to it. And then the scenario 1 is adding $150,000 to that capital equipment fund, along with using, well, again, we would raise and appropriate $200,000 additional to buy the excavator with. Now that money would in theory come from the capital equipment fund, but you can't figure it that way, Betty. Is that saying that correctly?
Correct.
So this super high one, I guess, if it was the board's decision to buy a new excavator, I would hope that it would come out of the capital equipment fund and not be raised and appropriated. So I think you could say that, it's going to be it could be somewhere in between if we still put $150,000 into the capital equipment fund this year. So for what it's worth, for me, I look at that as a way to save $150,000 of taxes by not raising that money this year and using that and keeping the capital equipment fund
Just leave it the way it is.
where it is for this year and see what happens next year. But I think in my mind, regardless of the what's and the wherefores, this all shit something we're going to have to do.
Now, if we do the salt building, are we gonna have the company do the excavation work too?
So
I mean,
that's-
if we're gonna spend that kind of money, I'd rather have the company do the work and then they're liable for everything.
And right now,
That's just my opinion, I mean,
I agree.
but right now, we don't have money, that's what's gonna be my question is we have the building and the foundation, all that work, prep work, tearing down the concrete there now, all that stuff, we don't have a cost yet for. So I mean, I think we need to get we're looking to put 600,000.
So-
But what if it comes out, it's gonna
Yeah.
cost 630 because all that stuff, we don't have the numbers for you. I think we need to have, at least going into this, they can change. But I think we need to make sure whoever's doing it, that we have.
We have
So
that extra.
You have $109,000
So
right now.
truthful, our next step is to actually go back to the engineer, Sebago Tech, and have them do the site plan layout, so we have all of the grades, they know what we're gonna need.
That's what I'm saying, all that money.
And then have them engineer a foundation, a poured foundation,
If that's the way we're going.
and,
Because we haven't discussed, really finalized that yet, have we?
no.
No, but that's what I'm saying, but all that money isn't part of that 457. So to what Rusty's saying, I think we need to, as part of the budget, I thought, we would want to make sure all that's going to fall under, if it's 600,000.
Right.
It's not going to end up being, 30, 40,000 more for some reason, just because we didn't have if it goes up because inflation, whatever, over time, people understand that, but
So.
I just want to make sure we're kind of in that ballpark.
Yeah, so I'm seeing, if we go with a fabric building, that we're probably getting 2 contractors, one to do site prep foundation, because usually the fabric, from my understanding, the fabric people will not hire will not do
The whole thing.
the whole thing. They just come in and set the building.
But they'd work with the contractor, all right? They'd give them the specs and stuff, all right?
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Unless we wanted a block foundation, and then they would provide the block foundation, and they would have that block foundation engineered. They would supply us with a set of plans.
But we still do the grading and,
But we
Yeah,
would
they
still
still
have to
work
do
up
the
the grade, right?
excavation.
and the concrete floor and stuff, yeah.
Okay, I got a couple questions for you, Bob. The paving 100 feet of the roads, is that just like on the end of the roads?
Yes.
Coming on that?
Yeah.
Now,
The big reason for that is it's a huge safety thing with grading the road. When you come out with a grade, you're you're covering the 2 lanes out on I call it Major Road
Right.
here in town, where your speeds are 50, 60.
100?
Yeah. And he's got to get out there, get turned around, and then still sit in the road, get set back up to do the next pull down the road. So I just want to do the 100 feet on those roads that are listed, so we're not having the grader sit out in the road trying to get set up. And then if we got to dump gravel, then you got to put a dump truck in front of the grader. So then you're sitting out there even longer, getting those people set up and going again. That's the biggest reason, the safety thing. Then it makes it easier for people coming out of those roads. They're not having to do a jackrabbit start and tearing up the roads, making the drop off at the roads. That's the major reason I want to do those 100 feet on those roads. Mill Road used to be paved in 100
Yes, it
feet
is,
already.
yeah, it was anyway.
Yeah, but with truck traffic and logging and all that, it has torn that up. That's what I was looking to do on those roads.
Just, you've got another question, Rusty, or do you?
No, I'm
Oh,
good.
okay.
I just asked about that.
So, again, this, I don't know the answer, and that's why I'm asking. How many full-time employees does the Public Works Department?
Yeah,
4 full-time
Yes.
and 1 part-time?
Yeah.
And that's been that way for a long time?
Long time.
15 years?
It hasn't been
Longer,
that
yeah.
long.
Pretty much
Used
the
to be
part-timer
3.
does the cemetery mowing, is what his responsibilities are. And then if we need him for some reason, to help us out, because we're short-handed, because we're
Yeah.
on vacation or sick or whatever, we'll grab him for a few hours or a day or something.
So, and I know a bunch of this was because of the salary increase 2 years ago and last year. Pretty, try to catch up and,
Yep, right, right.
make things more reasonable. So I'm wondering if that's the biggest driver, maybe Betty knows, is that the biggest driver for the 60% increase in overtime request from 2025 to the 2026 request and then the 2027 request? I know that's going to be increased because we gave a pretty significant increase in pay.
Now, it's some of it, I think, Betty, last year we put some in there just for like a payoff, I think, some salary.
I just don't.
Catch up, we changed the,
Well, I know the salary.
correct me if I'm wrong, Betty, we changed the carryover for a lot of time. We
Yeah.
shortened it, so there was going to be a payout, and that was one of my questions, at least, we upped it 10 last year, but I know we don't need to leave it at 10 this year. Extra 10 instead of 20. It was previously 10 for those years, a lot of the years, so,
I just know we
So
actually.
the hike was from 25 to 26,
Right, and
yeah.
it's, and it didn't go backwards this year.
correct?
Which I think it could, because you're not going to hit 20. You've only hit
We're
12,
not-
12, 12 for the most part in the past,
Right.
so.
I can take the current scenario that the board has decided on with the Public Works Director on comp time. And I can figure out what an average payout or what an average overtime would be.
And again, the reason I asked the question is not, I'm just curious why there was that increase, and was part of it driven by,
No.
it's gonna be some part of it was because we're
It-
paying people more money salary-wise, so overtime is going to cost
salary
more, but I'm wondering about
doesn't go up
60%.
that much.
Yeah, that's,
No,
For overtime.
and it wasn't because it was more of a policy change
okay.
where we couldn't carry as much comp time.
So the people that already had that number were paid.
Gotcha. I
To
think
get
I
it down to
remember
the
that.
lower
I
number.
remember that
And
now.
that was a one-off. So that's what I'm saying. There's money in there that can be pulled back, how much she can figure. Because, I mean, they're not going to go to 20,000 in overtime this year. You can see in the past.
Bad March if we do.
Yeah, you can see in the past, yeah, it's a bad March. We get snow every day. you could see it, you know, to me, it's somewhere, you know, at least
In the
5.
grand scheme of things,
come
that's
off of that
peanuts,
and you
but
think,
No, but it's,
I'm at the point that I'm looking for.
I'm not-
well, we always talk about that though, right? These are the ways you whittle, you whittle, you whittle, you whittle.
My question, just talk about pros and cons of renting equipment versus, I think we talked about it briefly last week. Of renting equipment versus purchasing it. Just pros, cons from your perspective.
The good thing about owning your equipment, it's there to use out of convenience when we need it. Depending on our manpower, our workload, unforeseen things that may come up. We've had pipes that wash out. And then having the excavator, for example.
Yeah, that specifically.
Comes with, has a mower head on it. So we can, if we get a slow day or a slow week or whatever, I can put somebody in that, just send them out mowing for a day, 2 days. Or if you rent a machine, you're stuck in that time frame to use it. And it happens all the time, we rent a machine. We rent a mower for a week, you gotta stick somebody on that mower for that week, in that time period. You're rushing to get stuff done, because you're in that time frame on a mower. Then if you rent an excavator, generally we'll get it for a month. And it's been a track machine, so you gotta line up trailers, I plan my projects, so with a track machine, I work on the roads that are gonna be paved that year. That's where I'll start with. Get the ditching done, the pipes changed. So then if I have a machine, I can work on it year round, or at a more convenient times when you have time frames for trucks, people do it. So you're not stuck in a time frame.
Sure.
They try and rush you to get stuff done.
And you said a month, right? Roughly.
What's that?
You would rent that a month at a time, roughly? For
Yeah, that's
three,
generally what we do it on the
3,000, is that what
excavator.
3,000-ish?
Wheeled excavator.
That's what I remember.
Track excavator is about 6,000 to 7,000 a month. Wheeled excavator, we rented that was 9,000 a month. We rent a mower, that's $7,000 a month. I mean, a week rather, excuse me.
7,000 a week,
For a
just
week.
for the mower head?
Yeah.
Jeez.
week. That's just the mower head, not the equipment?
That's a tractor and everything.
Oh,
there
okay,
we go.
okay. So you're talking like
Not an addition, okay.
you're talking
Yeah.
like an arm mower?
Yes,
I
that's
got
a
you,
boom.
okay.
Okay.
So you can reach out on the backside.
Yeah,
of the
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that sounds
Yeah,
much
yeah.
better. I thought it meant the mower head for the excavator.
Right, okay. That's it, yeah.
I would take mine and rent that out.
With renting a mower for a week, we use it, we use it every day, about 9.5 hours a day. We get maybe a third of the town done, third of the roads done, and that's not spending a lot of time, that's just getting the worst spots on the roads and keeping it moving.
Okay.
So I'll throw this out there, I guess, I know I brought it up last year, and I think the year before, especially with these expenses that we're talking about. Is there any interest by anyone that doing a study or whatever in contracting out 100% of the winter maintenance? You wouldn't have your salt shed, you wouldn't have the truck. For the wear and tear on those trucks, they would last more than 10 years, and have the Public Works Director as a supervisory role for winter maintenance when you contract it out.
I mean, I'd always be interested to hear what the numbers look like, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's more of a service for me. I look at the towns that have contract. I do contract that.
No,
out.
I understand.
And so, right, I know you do, and so do I, right? And the local ones you can think
Like I
about
can see
are
some.
Sweden and Porter and Hiram. Yep. Naples?
No,
Naples has their own.
Yeah, they do have.
But it seems like Public Works grows and grows and grows and grows, and our budget grows. And I can see where Sean's going with it. I mean, it's just, Are you
salt
talking-
shed,
Right,
garage
just-
coming
yeah.
down the line,
Well,
and then the
they
maintenance
want-
on all the vehicles, it would be half or less than half without all the
but-
salt and all
And they
that.
want to build a new town garage in a few years. That's millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things.
And our roads are I drive
oh,
to
yeah.
Kennebunk, they're the best around, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But that's a tremendous cost
Yeah.
for us
Yeah, it is. I mean,
to do that. As much as I like the, we do a darn good job, but I just want to know if anybody has any interest in looking at this before we buy a salt shed, and before we build a new garage, and before we buy trucks and insure them and pay the overtime.
I mean, I think you could look at, somebody could talk to any of those towns, right, and find out what they spend. Like, Winter, right, Sweden, or wherever we call them, and talk to them. I think, so your point of the buildings themselves, you would say, I'm trying to talk through it, the buildings
Yeah.
themselves you would save, potentially. I mean, you still need to have a public works garage, maybe not to the size
Sure.
that we're talking about now, if you didn't have all that equipment, but, at least in our town.
And to fix them in the winter
Right.
is an issue.
Yeah, right, yeah. And so in our town, you would still need a grader, right, because that's summer maintenance.
Yep.
You would still need whether it's a wheel excavator or the backhoe, you still gotta have that, so you have the trucks to haul the gravel
Yep.
too. So we are specific, and just to make sure we're all talking the same language here, we're specifically talking about you would not have the $600,000 expenditure for a salt shed. You would have to put up salt sand every year. And you
You'd have
would,
to truck
you would
it.
save, right, you would have to put it up, right, so that's buying it and trucking it, and you wouldn't have to, and you would have, your maintenance, and I think fairly so, would go down, would some value, I don't know what that would be, and that I think would be the hardest thing to monetize, right, is what that looks like, but,
Employee insurance,
well, do
healthcare
you,
benefits.
So what would you do with personnel during the winter? Lay them off?
You make it, other than the public works director, your employees would be a 6-month position, or?
Could be tough.
we had a hard time keeping employees, I know, I'm just bringing that point up, too. We had a hard time keeping employees when.
It's a tough situation.
Yeah, but you could be darn competitive for a 6-month job if you weren't paying for your,
Right, and if you're gonna be
That would be-
competitive, that means
that
you're
would
gonna
mi-
pay more than we're paying,
Yeah.
right? So there would be.
but I'm wondering, that's why I'm asking,
Yeah,
is this
yeah.
a savings
Where's the
overall if we do away with the winter? We might, if we have 4 full-time employees, right, and then in the summer, there might be a number of people that would be interested in a position that pays more than it's paying now, and they know they're working from, I don't know, April to October.
Yep.
That might be attractive for a lot of people. I'm not sure, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
It's,
It's just a suggestion.
I think, and I know, and the hard, one of the really hard parts you're gonna find is CDL drivers. Working part-time with the
There are
something like
there are fewer and fewer people going for their CDL.
just throwing it out.
Yep. No, I mean, I'd certainly be interested to know what the contract would, what surrounding area contracts are for winter maintenance. I think that's an interesting,
I can
Number to
look
look at.
into it.
If you're going to have Betty do that research, I mean, some of those towns, don't they contract for both summer and winter? Wouldn't you want her to look into?
Well, I'm just thinking we have a lot of,
expenses?
I think we probably, this is a guess, and I think we have probably more miles of dirt roads and gravel roads than a lot of those other
Yes.
towns
Well, yeah.
might have, and so,
And-
we've got equipment now, I guess you could sell it off, but
And how many towns are going the other way? Like
I don't know.
Casco, I mean, they're starting to take care of their own roads instead of contracting it out.
yeah, and I think the demographics and the size of the towns make a difference. I don't know in what way, I know.
Yeah.
But I know,
I mean, I do believe if that was a way that anyone wanted to go, you're still looking at probably a 7 to 8 months position and not a 6 months.
yeah, I just throw it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they work, you're doing road maintenance, especially on the gravel roads, right up until, November 1st or
Yeah, it
till
depends
you
on,
can't.
depends on the weather,
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to know what Sweden pays Robert Drew to plow those roads.
And even how, and to the question of, how many what's their mileage for paved roads and dirt roads, and even to compare to ours to try to understand if,
There could be an upside to that too, Sean. Camp roads. I knew you was thinking that.
And because of our dirt roads, right, we would have, it would be a,
That would not eliminate our camp
you'd
roads.
have to have somebody.
I don't know, could a contractor go in and do it under a town policy? That'd be a sticky situation, wouldn't it? I don't know if you'd want to get a contractor to go in there. I don't know if you would get a contractor.
Well, then I think you would need a town employee to do that
Right,
then.
that's what I'm saying.
Not if the town says we're not gonna do it.
Well, that's just what I'm saying, yeah.
Well, the roads that have already been put under easement, we're obligated to do.
No, we are not.
Yes, we are.
I,
The only ones
was
we
on
are,
that committee.
the only ones we are not are new ones.
why does it come up to a vote every town meeting then?
If you read it, it says new.
I was on the committee when it was drawn up. I beg to differ. There is I don't believe there is any, if the town voted not to do the private roads, we have to, we voted can we have a copy of that? The warrant that we don't have to do it now. Bob's here. We got fire department, but.
What's the fire department? You doing that too?
We've only got
Oh, he's doing both. Okay.
20 minutes.
Okay.
Does that mean today or no?
No.
Oh, you know.
Can I ask a couple questions if, just Public Works?
Sure.
If that's,
Yep.
miscellaneous highway road expenses, roads, I mean, that's gone up from 15 to 20,000. Just was curious
What number
in the
is
last
that?
couple of years.
Page 5.
Yeah, it's just on the budget.
That's fine.
It's in the middle there, number 50322. It's, it just seems to go from 15 to 20 now over the last couple of years. Like, what does that entail? Because it's a miscellaneous column. It's kind of one of those things that, yeah, I'm just curious what kind of expenses are, because it's going up again 2,000, 10%. At least it's
Like
proposed.
a pot chloride out of that for the dirt roads.
Mhm.
And if you want to continue adding chloride to the roads at the rate that you guys want to put it on, that would be increased another $50,000.
Does that keep the dust down? Is that what that is?
No, I understand if that's what we want to do, but
Yeah.
what's there now? That it's
Right.
going, no, but
That's where that money, that's where that chloride's coming out.
so basically right now,
Yep.
so the last 4 years, chloride's been being spent to put down on the dirt roads? Okay. So that's more or less an inflationary kind of thing?
Yes.
That it just goes up because of the price of stuff?
It's a quantity thing.
Is the uniform number expended, is that going to keep going up to the end of the year? That 8,000, or is that?
No, we're actually getting a credit on that from
Okay.
Cintas finally.
Well, may I ask you a question? It's just because my husband worked for a company that had uniforms. The quality over the expense, I know that lots of times the quality isn't what you're paying for. Is that what you're experiencing, or are you as a supervisor and your employees happy with the quality of the uniform?
What we did there with the uniforms, we went to paying the employees a stipend instead of renting the uniforms.
That makes sense.
Then the employees can get what they want for clothing. Most of the employees weren't taking advantage of having their uniforms go back to the company to be laundered. They were doing them at home anyways. We kept the uniforms, we kept the jackets, and I also got jumpsuits when they have to do work on the equipment and get into dirty jobs and stuff like that, so they can put the jumpsuits on. And then we got the coats, and then safety gear will come out of that funding also.
Do you also do like the metal?
Steel-toed?
Metal.
Steel-toed.
Steel toe shoes, that
Safety
comes
toes.
out of their stipend that they get.
Oh. Thank
This-
you.
The safety equipment, what, is that a specific item?
Be chaps, gloves, safety vest, hard hats, that type of stuff.
No, you're talking about the line item?
Yeah, different line item, the safety equipment line item. You said all those other things would come out of the other thing.
Yeah.
That is specific.
Yeah, some of the others, on that other line, some of it's is signs, chains, that type of stuff. Lifting equipment all comes out of safety.
And I guess just one last thing, I guess like in 23, 24, seasonal wages were about $8,000 a year, and then starting in 25, they've gone up. When you that included cemetery and seasonal wages, the two line items. And starting in 25, and now this current year, it's 12,000, and it's looking to go up to 12,500. Was there a big change in the course of that 20? Like, why did it go from $8,000 to 12 over 12,000 for seasonal and cemetery work?
Just the rate of pay. The hour stayed the same, the rate of pay changed.
That's a big rate of pay, going from 8,000 to 12,000. That's 50% increase.
That's from $14 an hour to $18 an hour.
Yeah, that just still seems a lot.
What's this equipment replacement, what's that one for? Did you say that already? It's like $1,500 that started in 2025.
You say what number it is?
50304.
Where is it?
50304.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was there in '23 when I started. I don't know why those are blank numbers, but replacement was like chainsaws, brush trimmers, hand tools, any power tools, stuff like that.
Well, you got another thing here that says brush supplies, that's $1,500. And then you got equipment, another $1,500. So if you're gonna buy chainsaws and stuff out of two different accounts or what? I mean, it's only $1,500, but I mean, why do we have to have two different accounts?
It's 25. Budgeted. Action. 15,019. 17,000 went back in. When you go back and look at it right over the last 4 years, 3 years, call it, this year hasn't been fully expended yet, right? But it's right around 500,000 every year. The spike in '23 was a gravel spike, salt sand expenses for whatever reason. That must have been a hard winter. But that's 12,000 easy you can find on that one. So I mean that takes that back down to 501, 501, 503, 497. If we pulled that if that $5,000 increase came out of the overtime portion of it, that gets you down to 517 as a budgetary number, which is what is that? That's $3,000, so that's 0.5%, something like that, 1.5%. Anyway, it's a flatter number. It looks must work. Looks like they rolled back. If you look at 25, right? Asked for 514, spent 497, so you rolled 17,000 back into the fund. I mean, I guess I asked myself,
line
right?
item?
Huh?
Which line item?
I was looking at 25 totals.
Oh,
25 actual versus budgeted. Right, budgeted 514. Well, that's 26 rather, sorry. So you budgeted 514 in 26, knowing that you spent 497. So I mean, it's not a, I don't know what the budgeted was for 25, but
Well, the actual budget for '24 was 503,892.
yeah, well, that was the actual expenditures,
Yeah.
right? But we don't know what the budget was. We don't know what they budget like.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha,
Right. So I guess
gotcha.
what I'm trying to say is that if we
if we think we're gonna spend around $500,000, that's what we've been spending the last 3 years, somewhere in that neck of the woods, right? And we can take 5,000, again, big air quotes here, if we took $5,000 out of that overtime, so it was more like 15, which is probably more close to what the actual will be. It gets down to 517. I'd like to have, modestly more amount in each line item than we would need, so we're not asking
Right,
to find
exactly.
more money to pay for them later. So some percentage has to be left alone to allow for, to make sure we have enough money to cover, right? So I think if we're talking about $17,000 on a $500,000 line, I think that's a pretty tight window.
So
in my
the
mind.
budget in '25, total budget was 505,000.
So we overspent by
Although
9.
the actual was for
Underspent.
497.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look the wrong one again. I apologize. Yeah, right. So again, right. So
So you're right
So you're right there. Right. It's a
Splitting.
10%. No, it's 1%.
Well, yeah.
Right. So I mean, I guess I again think my final point, what I'm trying to say is that if we took that 5,000 out, you were down at 517,305, and if we're going to expend somewhere in the 5 to 505 range, we're hitting that 1 to 2% window that I think is pretty reasonable to ask anybody to get their budget within 1%.
If our 2023 actual number is right and our request, that's over a, 1, 2, 3, 4-year period, and it's only a 1.7% increase. That's a little misleading because, well, it is what it is for that line, but
Sure.
we also have additional public work,
Yeah, right. But again, if it's apples for apples across those four on that line, right? Because the same lines are within that, right? So it's hard to ask for. I'd rather let there be 1 to 2% sitting in something that we could conceivably be over.
If we've only increased it 0.5% a year.
Right. We've done an
This is one of
excellent,
the ones we've done.
done an excellent job with, right? And so I think to ask that we get in any, if you're asking me to say I'm okay with holding 2% more than what we may expend, you're going to get a big thumbs up for me. I'm good with that on that big of a line item. So I personally like these big ticket items. Those are outside the. I think this right here, what you've done, it's all I could ask it to get it that tight and keep it that close. So I appreciate that. Are there any more public works questions? Can we move on to the fire department? Let's move on.
Oh, let's find out.
Where's fire department?
Page 4, bottom of page 4.
Thank you.
May I ask the changes or improvements or differences between this year, the present year, and what you see upcoming?
For the fire department?
For the fire department, what you see upcoming for the fire department?
I sure was one.
Yeah.
That's mine?
No.
I couldn't find it.
Say no major changes. I'm not gonna be looking for any trucks or anything like that. I'm just trying to improve on what has been purchased and what should have been purchased.
I know last year, was it air packs? Is
Yep.
that the big line item, and are you,
And
Turnout gear was a big.
Last year they did turnout gear.
and are you going to purchase more this year?
Turnout gear, if we need turnout gear, it'll just be maybe 1 or 2 sets. We're not gonna need a whole big purchase. And what I've gotta do still is go through the gear that we've swapped out and see what is still usable and what has to be discarded. If it's still usable, new people will be put into that, especially when they're going through their training years and they're not going to be doing interior firefighting. They can use some of the older gear that we have was replaced.
Wasn't it
No,
air packs
the
or something?
turnout
It was like, I
were
know,
told that
maybe
by
I'm
all
using
men.
wrong terminology,
saying
but
you
something
use
to
it
do
for new
with
people.
air pack.
Yeah.
Like they.
that was a couple of years ago, it was the turnout gear, I think, this past year. It was expensive, it was like $8,000.
Yeah, you
Are
guys
we
are looking for
beyond-
alternate funding for that too, right?
Although all of the current gear that we have prior to what we just purchased is over the 10 years allowed by Department of Labor, correct?
Right,
So
yeah,
how are you gonna
on the turnout
reuse?
gear.
you won't be able to reuse any of that.
No, we can't use it for interior firefighting.
But you could use it for like drivers and
We
things.
can use it for drivers,
We asked
exterior
that
people,
question.
Traffic control.
We were
traffic
told no.
control, trainings.
Yeah, I thought,
But nothing-
it seems like it's a different answer than we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Last
mean,
year,
when
and we're gonna
Department
have to
of,
buy another, because anybody on scene, and
Yeah, like
we
a
got to buy another
driver,
eight this year, and
someone not trained to go into buildings, but basically is outside as a driver and things like that. We're told they need
It's all good.
new
Let's move
gear.
on.
Some of the gear that was replaced, for the, especially the interior people, some of that gear is still in the date. That's why you have to go through it and figure out which gear is still good and what isn't. And a lot of, some of the condition of it, we have to look at rips and tears, wear spots and stuff like that on them.
Betty, the turnout gear number, we budgeted 17.5, 65 was spent. How does that, what does that mean? We didn't approve 65, did we? From tax, I thought there was some from outside
I
and
think
stuff
they were
like
gonna
that.
try
You're
to get
looking
some
at the-
outside.
Yeah, turnout gear.
yeah, the 256. Yeah, so that 64
Yeah.
will,
Page you.
it, even though it doesn't show in this line item expense, because that's what we're in, we did expend 64,000, but that's offset by the grant monies
Okay,
and
so
the
this includes the grant
donations
money.
Page 8.
that are in the dedicated funds
So
for that.
17.5 was still what the town paid
Correct.
towards it, the other, okay, that's why I was wondering, it wasn't there, I was just curious. If that's
Yeah.
okay. That's why the number looks so much
Yeah.
higher. Gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah, so I guess similar to the vehicle list, is it worth it to do like a firefighter inventory, you know, when your expiration dates, whatever, that
Suggested
stuff?
that.
That'll be
Is there?
coming up on that. I'm gonna be working on that.
Yeah, just to keep track. Absolutely.
One of the things that we're working on, because you brought up air packs. Our air packs go out of date January 31st. We won't be able to use our current air packs. We're looking into a grant. We need 8 air packs. We're looking into a grant to replace those. We're also, some of the funds that we're getting reimbursed for from the year, we're gonna apply that towards the air packs.
is that the capital equipment increase?
No,
For
that's-
11,400 up
No,
for.
that's for some additional hoses,
Okay.
fittings and stuff like that, that we don't have that we need.
The air packs, we currently have 8.
Yes.
Are they used at the same time, all 8, or they have, what's the frequency of their use at the calls we go to? Because I know the other towns probably have a similar amount. Do we only ever use, and obviously you have a buddy system, so if we're going in by ourselves, obviously you're going to use at least 2 or 3 or 4, whatever.
Yep.
But how often does that happen? I guess what I'm asking is
Do you
do
need,
you need 8? Can you get away with 6? Because you only ever have 2 people in them at any time because Brownfield has 2 in, and you know what I'm saying? Like 8 is a big number, but do we ever?
Eight's not a big number.
Yeah.
Well, but it depends on what your calls are, and I don't know what they are. That's why I'm asking, because what's the most we've ever used at a fire from Denmark? Air packs for Denmark responders.
I mean, something as simple as a chimney fire, you need
You're gonna-
2 guys.
Well, that's what I'm asking. You
with
tell me.
tacks, 2 guys down
You're
bottom.
gonna use 6,
Six
as a
to
basic
8.
chimney fire, you're gonna use 6.
Well, that's what I'm asking. So, you know, I'm just asking that out there again, just seeing if 8's too much, at least even for, if we don't get the money through funds and things, can we wait another year to pick up the other 2? Because even with 6, more than likely, you might have mutual aid and blah, 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 blah. That's all. I'm just saying if there's a way we can kind of maybe stretch it out.
The other
About
thing is,
$10,000 a piece.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can, and then you have your inventory list where you don't have to replace them all in 1 year, 10 years from now.
85,000 to replace all 8 packs.
Yeah,
if you have 4 guys in, you gotta have 4 guys ready to go, so.
right.
but do we ever do that? Have we ever done that? Again, I'm only asking
Well,
if
no,
we
but
do it.
like Chris said, if you got 4 guys in, you could have 4 guys ready to go. 'Cause
But have
one
we
guy-
done that, though? That's what I'm asking.
Well,
Yeah,
I just asked, because I'm just saying if we could push 2 off or something for next year. I know you need them, I mean, if you say you need them, but if it's one of those, it's like a nice have again, But I could be totally wrong, that's why I'm only asking, I don't know any of the
You can
details.
blame the state on that. They keep telling us we have to do stuff.
Oh, I know.
I know. I mean, if the truck and the equipment, it's like they're trying to put us at.
Oh, yes.
I'm curious on 50603, equipment maintenance. Just
Yeah.
out of curiosity, what was the big,
That's.
what was the big
that's in the
expense we
summary
had
she did.
This year?
this year?
And last
was
We
year?
budgeted 6,000, it's a little over
Summarized that.
6,000.
In
For
the
the tires or no?
I think you had,
No,
in the summary
six-
she did in the first one. she
Money we
probably
spent
Did I
for
miss it in the
maintenance
summary?
issues on engine 3, the foam system.
Okay.
Repairs to that was in valves,
Yeah,
on that, repair valves on that truck was in the area of $5,000 just for that one vehicle.
Truck
The-
maintenance.
The increase on that this year is mostly for tires for two of the vehicles.
So the thing that they had last week with the shells and the tires, that's all included in this budget anyway, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Engine 2, the new engine that was purchased a few years ago, that came with basically no shelves in that at all. So there's a lot of unused space in that truck, so I want to get some shelves, so we can get some of the gear that's on the small truck into the bigger truck, to take the weight off the small truck, make it more usable.
Thanks.
Some of the equipment, capital equipment, currently we have no 2.5-inch hose in the fire station at all.
No 2.5 at all?
None.
Where, I'm not gonna ask.
I don't know why, done before I got there, but we have nozzles for it, but we have no hose to go
there's a
with.
lot of mysteries.
Yeah,
We've gone through a lot of mysteries.
So there's some money in there for 2.5-inch hose. There's some adapters, and appliances. Appliances.
Just get some
are adapters.
reducers, you can reduce it down.
What's that?
just like Golden's Law.
I know some of the equipment that we need disappeared with one of the trucks that was traded or sold or whatever happened to it.
Did you say, or stolen? Traded or stolen?
Just gets better.
Disappeared.
Both disappeared,
It
yeah.
it went with the truck.
We never cleaned it out.
So that equipment needs to be replaced.
So if I may ask Betty, Bob, we have Bob here. I'm still not concerned, but I'm still want to know what the fire chiefs, the public safety director, fire chief, we got to make sure we get our words, whatever we call here. We still need to understand from the board's perspective what that job and the hours, I know you put hours in there, but again, based on what we had to go through with the previous, not the most recent interim, but the previous one to that, the hours, I just want to make sure that if it was 10 hours and whatnot, that we're comfortable, because we did a years-long review with the previous one, and, we just need to understand that the money's being spent correctly. We feel it's being done, because obviously we found out it wasn't previously and so forth, and we still haven't gotten that. I know Bob's been busy, he's just taken over and things like that, so I just want to make sure, now that we're in the budget, and if we're going to be approving it, that, or at least moving it along, that if we can set that up at some point
So
for
you're
the
the
board.
new chief?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. When
Just so we can, feel comfortable, because even the reporting and stuff, get all that's hasn't been done per the new ordinance and things like that. We got to get all that stuff kicked off. I
Yeah.
feel like we're kind of in that dead zone right now, and there's requirements we're not seeing regarding calls and everything. So now that the budget's, I just want to make sure if we're kind of going okay with the budget, we have all that backup information, so we're comfortable at the town's fully understanding what's happening.
May I ask you, is that like part of like a policy or procedure type of thing? And it's something where this is all new, that you're just working it out the details?
Well, there's we had a new ordinance, and they have a new set of internal guidelines. So those are going to get kick-started to follow, like, monthly reports and things like that. But as far as just the hours and things, we went through the previous one, and now, just saying, it's going to take them 10 hours a week. We budgeted 10 hours a week, and Bob's new, so, it's not, there's nothing on him yet. I think as a board, we just want to make sure we don't fall back into that where we were before, where all of a sudden hours start getting charged, and does it really, and I'm not saying Bob's gonna do that, but we saw
Everybody's in it.
a bad situation that needed correction, and I just don't want to fall back into that. Right now, we just haven't we haven't started at the start yet, so we just need that information, and as long as both sides are comfortable, I think things will go good moving forward. But I just want to make sure that we really push that, because we did do the ordinance, and there are requirements right now from those ordinances and things that aren't being met that we need to kind of start getting going. You know. But on the flip side, the 2,000, again, we put that line item in there. That's that consultant that we used when we did get inspected by the Department of Labor, and we had some, non-compliance issues, and they helped correct us, and Bob could talk to them. That a lot of departments use them, and they keep them in compliance, talking to them, setting up the people, the training. So I'm hoping, again, even just talking about that, I'd like to, it's not a lot of money, but it's money well spent to keep the department, to help them stay in compliance with all the new wacky laws and things like that, and training. And hopefully, if the DLL comes in again, I'm hopefully confident that things are going to look a lot better than what they did before. So that is a new line item that, moving forward, will probably be in there.
Yes, and again, knowing our prior situation, and then we had an interim, and now we have another interim with Bob stepping in. We put in there, or estimated 10 hours for admin a week, and 4 hours for fire chief calls, so 14 hours per week for the fire director. Is that going to say that it's going to be 10 hours every week, or it could be 15 hours one week, and
Sure, and
right?
but that's what we need to understand.
But I'm also going to say that just recently, as of Monday, I had received an email from our consultant, and there is still a list of 16 items that need to be addressed for Department of Labor after she went through files. So Bob is going to be addressing those, plus all new.
Well, I thought but what happened, what's gone on in the last year? I thought we paid her to be there to, and this is a separate issue. Let's not digress with the budget.
She gives us the laundry list, and if it doesn't get done, it's not on her.
Well, that's concerning, and that's why I brought this up.
So we don't hire her to actually, we hire her to tell us what the laundry list is,
Okay,
and then
we'll
we
put
have
that, I
to.
would suggest put that on our next budget agenda, because that's new to me and that's concerning. If we're,
Select board agenda or budget?
What's that?
Select board agenda or budget agenda?
Select board.
Thanks.
Select board. Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
You don't
I
need
wanna-
anything else.
No.
Thank you.
I digress, I apologize.
Well, I know that in the past couple of years, they've been working on increasing volunteers and so forth. How is that going with volunteers and members of the department?
Actually, it's going pretty good.
Are you gaining?
We're staying right there. There's a couple another one or two new people coming into town. One of them's currently on Brownfield. I think will be joining us. The last big structure fire we had actually had 14 people show up. 14 out of 17 that we have. Meetings, we had 16 at the last meeting. So turnout is good. It's staying right up there, and I think if we continue on the path that we're going, that we'll get some more interest, and so our membership will grow.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a much more involved group,
Yeah.
and more
That's great
active.
to hear.
That is very good.
That's a big year and a half.
I know many years
We're in more
ago,
shape.
they used to have like junior volunteer, like high school students.
Yeah.
Is that like a non-starter type thing, or is there interest, or is there not the ability to do?
There is the program. I know they used to do it before. I haven't seen any interest in it yet, except for one person that had been coming with his father. We can certainly look into the correct way of implementing that. program.
Yeah, you talking to Junior?
Yeah.
junior
Yeah, so
fire.
that's handled in our new ordinance, and we're only gonna offer it if there is available personnel to train and to be a one-on-one. Is
So you need a
the
dedicated-
summary of it.
Dedicated person to oversee that program.
Oh, I got you, okay.
Under 18 is at your line there.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just know a few years ago, at some of the high schools, the fire departments in each of those towns went to the high schools and did a program, and they got very little interest. You know, it's not a thing that young people are interested in nowadays. But I know way back, it was a thing. I know it's part of community building and being a part of your town.
Yeah, we do go to the elementary school for a career day, to try and promote, what we do. I don't think the high school does a program in Freiburg that I know of
No, I'm
anyways.
not aware of that. I know Lake Region did, but
Yeah.
Any other questions for the fire department? Okay, thanks, Bob, appreciate it, man.
Thanks,
So,
Bob.
I know we just touched on this briefly about the air packs. So we have not put anything in here for air packs in hopes that, one, we're going to approach the select board to see if the reimbursement from the grant for the turnout gear can be put towards that. And again, most of that's donation money. And then second, I do have, today I found 2 grants that we'll be we're gonna apply for. So hopefully we're gonna cover those, but just,
Some of the, you gotta watch on some of the grants, the AFG grants, is that they specify you need an air pack for every seated position. So our air packs will go from 8 to 14.
yeah, so the 2 grants I found were private funded grants. So,
That's the best way to go if you
Betty,
avoid a grant without.
some of that donation money, was that specifically for turnout gear?
I have to, usually a check will just come in and say, fire department. So
Specifically, what did the Lions, do you know what the Lions said?
I would have to look on the
Donations
check,
for?
and it probably did say turnout gear, and that's why, we'd have to go back to those people.
Yeah,
who
but that wouldn't be a
donated.
problem. Right? Nathan, Luke, I mean, if they went back to the Lions and said, can we use it for a different thing in the fire department? I don't think the Lions would probably have an issue.
wouldn't think the
You know, I
Lions have
think
any
when-
issue with that at all, no.
Yeah, I think when people had committed those donations, we didn't know that we had been accepted yet for this grant.
Yeah.
Oh, I just think, I know how sometimes it's specific, like you're saying, it's specific too, so I don't want to get in a pinch, not be able to spend that money where it could be spent somewhere else, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and then when you would go back to the donator.
And I think that, again, I think that wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
But,
So it's worth it, it's a good, because it could come into play someplace else.
right,
So,
right.
and does.
Maybe the Lions will build a salt shed.
If the Lions could, the Lions would.
Yeah, I know they would.
The Lions could, the Lions
Put it down at
would.
the town.
If we had more members, volunteer,
There's one more.
yeah.
If every
Couple more
group,
dues?
Yeah.
if
I
every
got a
group,
framing gun.
think of some of the projects the Lions Club in Denmark have accomplished.
I know,
over the
that's what
years.
we used to do.
Speaking of which, Betty, if you can give me a printout of the tables and the cost, because that was something we were going to look at, the Lions, we're going to look at possibly purchasing 12 new tables for downstairs, because they're all a mess.
well, also, I'll bring it up at the Dragons
Yeah.
meeting too, because we use the table.
Yeah, it's just,
Remind me, we have the next meeting, we'll
yeah,
ask.
it's not a
I
use.
see that in there, and I,
Refrigerator too.
Well, that, yes.
That's
Yeah,
already
yeah,
on
sure.
there, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we use it a lot down there, so there's no sense of,
Yep.
reason we can't kick in some money, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, they're all functional. They're
Any more questions? Give me a call.
No, I think
Come out here.
you're all set. Get out of here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Bob.
Unless you're gonna be the new rector too?
Is it gonna be?
You do three things.
He looked good with pom-poms.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, can I just say one thing? And I should have said it earlier.
Say what you like.
To Rusty's and Sean and Leanne's comments about the salt shed and coming up for some kind of town vote or in a newspaper and stuff. You know, I respect good comments, good suggestions and so forth. At the time, we basically thought we were doing the right thing in the sense that, I personally was kind of upset that, this came up and all of a sudden after this thing's been there that long that it was basically not maintained or not watched or whatever you want to call it, that all of a sudden it's like, boom, it's got to go. And like Betty said, once we got an engineer saying it should really go, it becomes a liability issue. We did not want anybody going in that shed, working in that shed at that time. This did come up, correct me if I'm wrong, Betty, late in the year. There was an issue then became, we didn't have a lot of time to, and we didn't think to put it out to what you were saying. So I'm not saying we thought that. I just assumed that was part of our job here. So, but in the future, to your credit, if something that big while we're still here comes up, we will discuss that to say, hey, is this something we should send out there? If it's a big ticket item, something like that, that's a good idea. But it did come up late in the year, and we got kind of pushed with scheduling because then we had to find to get the temporary shelter logic. They had to tear it down in time. Then they had to start bringing salt. They started stockpiling salt and the sand, and if we weren't able to get cover in time for the winter, as it turned out to be a pretty bad winter, frost, cold-wise. I mean, if it ended up being one big lump of salt and sand, we could have been in a tough time this year even just to do the road. So it wasn't just let's tear it down, do it. There was a lot of consideration in the timing of it because they had to get prepared for the winter real quick. And we had to get this stuff scheduled real quick, even just getting it demoed. If we missed the window, it might not have happened. And if we lost that pad, we were in a pickle to what we were going to do. So, I mean, just to try to explain some of our thought process with it. But like I said, I appreciate what you said, and we will think about that in the future if something like that emergency type thing does come up.
As a selectman, you guys are in a no-win position, and you have to make decisions like that. It's so hard to get, when you have a situation of letting people know, be aware of things, and everybody is probably, after you, and there's just no great way of letting people know things.
Well, as Betty knows, I'm constantly telling her to put it on the website,
Right.
We didn't necessarily do that for this because we were going to make the decisions and stuff, but I hope you see a lot of other things, whether it's changing hours here or something, we try to get it out there weeks in advance so that, we can only do so much. I mean, as we say, we wish there were more people that come to our meetings. We tell people that, we say, as Betty said, we had it on the agenda for quite a few meetings. So, just to give you a little, not so much to our defense, but just a reasoning why we did it the way we did
Would
it.
have gone around town quick, though.
What's that?
I mean, you would have thought something in town like that.
We didn't hide it.
I saw it was gone, I was like,
I didn't know until after it was done.
Yeah, like I said, we didn't put it on the website that we're tearing it down or whatever, but it was in our meetings, it was discussion,
Where's the
everything was there.
gossipers in town? They usually gossip about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Your garage ain't open, so you don't have it.
Oh, geez, that's probably why.
How old was that salt shed?
Oh, that was, Benny Skolden was selectman when that put up.
It was after you, though.
Yeah.
Right after I got done.
So what did we do
I
before that?
remember Dale McBurney saying, we don't have to do what the state does. We're not gonna build the daggone thing.
But what did we do before with
We
frozen?
used to dump it off over the
We
bank.
mixed it, right?
We did, we dumped it off over the bank behind the fire department
Yeah,
now,
behind
but yeah, we used to have the bank down there,
Yeah.
the pit.
And mixed it
We usually
And-
dumped the sand and put salt on it, pushed it over, but you can't do that anymore. I mean,
State
you don't
requirements.
fit there,
That
so-
was
With the
behind
salt, it has to be
somebody's
impervious
house.
space and things like that.
No, I
Yeah.
remember. And the weird thing, if I remember when this whole thing, I mean, I was young.
Let's
But-
not go there.
There was a requirement though, if you were close enough to a major water, like
Right.
You didn't need
to.
one.
No.
Like, because of the Saco River, like the one
Yeah.
down in Cornish, they didn't need it
They didn't need it
because
because
the
it-
switch
it washed.
but so it's still a state
Filters,
requirement that has to be
yeah.
covered.
It's in the middle of a wetland.
It has to be on a pad, I don't know if it
Yeah.
has to be covered.
No, yeah, it has, well, yeah,
Has to be
well,
on
but,
something.
but if it's not covered, it can't be leaching off the pad.
Right.
Right.
A cover's the only way really to prevent it, or you cover it with a tarp or something, yeah,
Capture, if you will.
yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that, just because, you know, like I said, I appreciate your comments, and we'll definitely think about that if in the future it happens again, but I just wanted to let you know where we came from, you know, that type, and we, you know, Bob was the expert talking about, we've got to get things, you know, in place. Betty had to arrange for the demo and all this kind of stuff, so it was just kind of, there really wasn't a lot of times. If we lost the winter, we
1987.
probably would have been in trouble, so.
Really?
1987?
Yes.
It seems
That's when
like
it put
it's,
up.
40 years old.
That's when it, yeah.
wow.
Yep.
Good.
Anyway,
The four of you have a very no-win job, and that's one example of a time when
Yeah.
you had to make an executive decision.
but I also appreciate your comments, because they're good comments too. They're
Well,
not, you
when
know.
we change the office hours, got plenty of phone calls.
What's that?
We should have put, when we changed the office hours, we got a lot of calls saying we should have put it out to a vote. And I'm like, well,
No, we did. We had a meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Discuss. So we had it, we had, we invited, we put that out.
Town meeting vote.
Well, I know, some
Well,
people
we had
misinterpret
a
stuff.
selectmen meeting vote. We had people come and tell us what they thought, and if no one came and told us what they thought, well, I guess we're gonna do
It's
what we
easier
think's
to,
right.
it's easier to complain after the fact.
Exactly.
It's just like the dump thing.
Well, even same thing. We put all that out there
Or they
for
even complain
comment.
before and then don't come in anyway.
Yeah.
Next
And I-
meeting,
And I didn't think I was
Next
gonna be,
meeting.
that's why I left
what
the
would you
other
like?
Well,
I
is there
tell-
any other,
Jim Bob's.
Department heads
post op,
that need to
whatever.
come?
Well, I
I'd
never
like to
go
hear
in
from the
there.
other
Well, now we have a
departments.
sign.
well, are there any who regularly come? I
As
mean,
much as I
I guess the Michael's right.
You had the rec-
I closed
The
garage, I
other
don't
one
know
would
about-
be assessing.
Yeah.
The idea of little
I
Denmark
usually
having
handle all of admin and CEO.
yeah, that's fine
electronic
by me.
signs.
I mean,
I'd like
if you
to
have
hear-
specific.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Hang on a second.
Wait,
We're talking about
not
next
quite
meeting.
yet.
Oh, okay,
Hold your motion.
okay, sorry.
Thank you.
I'll withdraw that.
So we're talking
So
about what we want to
would-
see for next meeting. So we'll go over administration with you, right?
I'd like to hear that.
And then, I don't know if assessing can provide a report
Do you
or,
want, yeah, so do you want him here, a report?
I don't
Is there
think we need to
anything
have him here. I
specific?
think if he.
Who's that?
Right, I don't. the
Assessing.
Assessor.
The assessor, I don't think we need
I
to
don't
pay
think
him to come here, so I think that's,
Nothing new going on.
right.
Is there anything new for any of those departments?
In
Yeah, will you give
the
us all a
first
hard-
packet, there was a note on assessing for just prelude to fiscal '28.
Right.
So, and, you know, I can have Bob do a report. He would be fine.
Yeah, just a written one page or whatever, just to say, here's what's what, if that's easy enough to do. And then, I'm sure we'll have some things to rehash from this one, so why don't we just plan for those things, and then we can do outside agencies the next week? So not this week coming, with the following week, we'll do outside agencies, does that seem to make sense?
So I did have outside aid, I'm just looking.
Yeah, right, I think it was,
17th of March.
That's next
Of
week.
March.
I didn't
March.
have them until March 17th.
right, is there a
but
reason to
I
wait that
can-
long?
No, I mean, we're kind of doing department heads early and we're doing, so I can.
So how many
just put out
weeks
there.
do we need to give them notice so they can reasonably think they can show up?
It's all done by email, so we can maybe do them on the 3rd.
Should,
Right, I mean, if
That will be a
you put it out
meeting.
this week and they gave them a week and a half's notice to get
Yeah.
here, that's
so
just enough.
the one, I mean, we've had, the regulars have come in for the last few years. Are we getting any benefit by asking those same, like LEA comes and
No, it's just, what we've said is that if you don't come in, we don't.
right, no, but
Right.
I'm asking now, we've done that for like 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
Are there few of those that we can kind of,
I think there are.
don't need to hear and force
think
those
there are.
people to come in and spend their
Yeah, I
money
was gonna say,
to
spend
run
that time and effort
mileage?
to come over here if we did the same
I mean, if
thing.
there's 1 or 2, I think,
I mean, most
great.
of
I mean,
them
we've gotten a
send,
habit where no one showed up, and so then but now, I mean, LEA, the information's good, I always learn something, you know.
New ones,
but-
new ones
you know
will
what-
always say if you
If
show up,
you
you
have
never
them
get
not come, then they're just when you really need them to come. So I think,
I don't think we've actually put it out there that it's a requirement. We say
Right.
it's your option if you want to come and
Okay.
speak to
But
the
this
board.
day and age, I think they know, if you don't
If they
necessarily
want
say
anything,
anything, if they don't show up, they risk.
That's
losing.
fine, I just didn't.
I mean, most of them provided
I
a
agree- I
pretty
hear what you're
good
saying.
I would want to hear from
report with their request,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
That's
I
fine.
do.
I think if there's at least one that wants to hear, then
A lot of them are
I think-
volunteers and they don't mind doing it too.
And I don't love the. I just think it looks weird if we,
Some of them like to
choosing an agency that
expand.
we might look like we favor them, but we
Some
wouldn't need to
like
hear
to
from them. I don't love that look. But
Get
so
to
I'll
that.
say March 3rd.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
that's a night that there's on a select board meeting. Next week
Yeah,
is a select
okay.
board meeting.
Yeah, yeah, right. That gives a little bit more time. Then, we'll have to, the department heads we're looking at next week shouldn't take a whole lot of time. And we can re-talk about some of the stuff that we talked about tonight, see if we can get that kind of shaved down a little bit. And then if we do get the outside agencies done earlier, which would be good, that gives us a couple meetings to wade through the big ticket stuff and see what makes the most sense.
Yep.
can I just put some feelers out there, just curious as we think through this? I mean, looking up, we got the truck, the salt shed, and the excavator. Those were the big.
There's two, in the next 3 years, I'm seeing 2 trucks, and a wheeled excavator and the salt shed.
Right, so I'm thinking, I'm not thinking out for the second one, but I'm just curious, are people in favor of all those
Yeah.
3 things?
No.
Are people thinking about the wheeler?
The wheeler's a nice have. It's a
No,
nice
the
have.
wheeled excavator, not
wheeled
the
excavator.
wheeler.
Excavator.
The wheeler excavator's a nice have. To me,
That to me
that's
is
the
the
bottom of the
lowest
list.
priority.
All right,
They
so
don't-
I'm
they
just
don't need
thinking that,
No, they don't.
thank you.
The trucks are a different story if you're gonna be serious about
Right.
it, but not a wheel excavator.
I'm just thinking we're in a situation, from my perspective, that if we all know that that's one hurdle we could get over
Yeah.
tonight, and then revisit it at the end if we get some surprises, but with the list of money that, I'm not for deferring the maintenance. If we're on a schedule for those 10 trucks, I can
Well,
begrudgingly go along with that, because I don't want to get us in a situation where we're having to buy 2 vehicles in an emergency situation, and we got to do something with the salt shed, but that wheeled excavator to me is,
Well, I take
until I
a
hear
straw.
something different, it's off the table.
No, right. I take a straw poll right now. I mean, for my money, right? So this scenario 2, bottom line,
Right.
100K for the building and 150,000 from the unassigned. Sounds like that's the best move for this town this year. I mean, that's straw poll wise. That's where I am at right now. Unless somebody can convince me
I mean,
differently.
really, we gotta have it.
I don't disagree.
That's putting,
So that.
so you're saying putting nothing away for capital?
Right. I mean, unfortunately, I think that's where we're at this year, right? And so you don't put anything away for capital, you don't put the 150,000 in for capital, and you don't expend that $200,000 for the wheel excavator. That 198 just sits there.
I would rather
It hangs.
make a payment than put $150,000 in a
Right.
capital account getting very little interest
Right.
than having to pay the interest
I don't
on
disagree.
not.
I mean, unless
Depending on
somebody
how
can
the
make
monies work out.
right, unless somebody can make a real good argument. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. Just look at what we've tried to do, what we had to do the last couple of years. Right, I agree with you, Russ. Right, we got to find a way to diffuse the hit the best that we can this year, because there's these 3 or 4 big things coming up. The wheel excavator I think can go, but you're going to have to do the truck, and then you're going to have to do the other truck too. And we got to do something with this salt shed. And I'm telling you right now, I think we're going to have a hard time getting that salt shed dealt with this year.
I do
Yes.
too.
You're gonna have a really hard time having that built before next winter shows up.
Yep.
Just because, to your point, you gotta go through engineering, get the site plan done, get that vetted. I don't know, just from being on that building committee, I have some concerns about the site itself, where you're gonna put it, how the foundation is gonna sit. We already had that discussion about the new Public Works building, right? So you're gonna have to do a little bit of geotech report. You're gonna wanna spend that money.
So I
Do
can
those
give you a
borings.
quick update on that. I know
Okay.
we're,
Yeah, it's okay. I
So-
think we're sitting here, so.
so speaking with the engineer, the surveyor, we're working with Sebago Tech.
Yep, I like Sebago too.
And there is some concerns, because once diving into this, that we did not see when we were doing the future Public Works Garage Committee, was there is a lot more restriction on that lot than anticipated, and some of it has to do with our own zoning ordinance. Some of it has, because of an easement that is on the property.
The one in the back, the one that splits the property from the next door neighbor further towards the village, is that right away through there?
Yeah, so that's actually a 70-foot right-of-way, and we have to be 50 feet from it. So we
Okay.
have to be 120 feet from that property line.
Yep.
Unless again, we can, I mean, there's ways around this. So what I'm saying is, while talking to the surveyor and the engineer, we did say we want to lay this out, so we know where a public works garage could go. We know where this salt building. They are looking for the salt building to be on the back side of the garage now. So like that road that goes behind the garage, also over to Keels,
Yep.
it would be on the other side of that, like in that area.
And this is a drive-through or drive to both ends, so it's gotta be positioned in a spot where you can get to both ends, right? Need a drive, is it a drive-through or is it gonna have a bulkhead in the middle?
It's not gonna be a drive-through, there'll
So
be storage on the backside.
They'll have a bulkhead in the middle? Yeah, okay.
So what, probably crazy, but think of this, what's the acreage of that lot compared to the acreage where the transfer station is?
Good question.
If we're
Outside the
gonna
dump
have a
footprint.
bucket loader up there, and there's spots, and can we put the salt shed up there? Not terribly convenient, but I'm thinking
Would that, I think,
down the road, if we're gonna have this new garage, do we put it up there and not have to deal with that
Right,
lot
it's where
and
it's
put
not
the
on
transfer
point.
station?
I don't disagree with the logic, you'll have to do another geotech report to see what
Just-
that.
just thinking outside the box.
Because it was a landfill at one point.
Well, yeah, you're not
Yeah.
gonna probably put much over, unless
wouldn't
you
it be
do a
like-
lot of work and
Yeah,
not
so I
put much
think
over
we're
that
gonna
landfill.
be-
You'd have to,
I think the salt
But
shed
we-
probably.
Through the
do a
state, I
lot
think
of-
we're gonna have
it's not
restrictions
saying
on
you can't
the
store
transfer
things on it,
station
but I don't know
lot.
if you could put a building on it.
but wouldn't it be worth looking into?
Oh, yeah,
I just wonder
I think
how
you
big
could-
the lot is.
Right.
That's not
Especially where
landfill.
it's a
Right, you
wet,
could put the salt shed
where
to get part of it.
present land is wetland.
I'm just saying, just based
You
on
have
what we're
some
using it for now,
restriction.
all that lower land is not usable, you can't build anything on it.
So we have cleared up, that was one of the issues when we first started with the Public Works lot, is that it was in a lot of wetlands or delineated wetlands. So that was one of the first things that we did, was have Sebago Tech go out and redefine those wetlands. So we've kind of done away with all of the wetlands except for one little area. And that's because it was on the state survey that was done in the 1980s. So if we can prove that there's no wetlands there,
We
then,
already filled those in.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. 20 years ago, whenever they did it.
What's done is done.
But with other land that the town owns, is there a better options, say, for salt and gravel storage and/or garage?
Well, if that school closed, that would be perfect.
That's
spot for
where
it.
I go. Wow. I mean, a real
I'm just
scenario.
saying.
No, he's right, but a real scenario.
I'll tell you what,
You
good
would have
sand
the
over there.
wrong
anyway.
land. Yeah. And a
Yeah,
lot
you're
of
pretty close to wetland there.
I want to say
But
something
Yeah,
about
you
the
are.
garage lot.
Yeah,
Buck Meadows.
Lane Warren, Langy, and who was the other two selectmen when they bought that? The lot that I wanted when I was road commissioner was where Travis's house is. That's why I wanted the town garage to go.
so I
Is it
will
all-
tell you, and a lot of people might not know that, we do own a 2-acre lot across the street.
Over here?
So wouldn't it be worth it to look
didn't know
into
that.
that? If you're
I never
having,
saw that on.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah?
behind that little cemetery.
Oh, behind that little cemetery?
so,
That
so
big
wouldn't
enough?
it be worth it, if you're paying to have a survey done, is to have a survey done, say on that
Yeah.
lot, say on the transfer station lot, just so that the selectmen have the information
I agree.
to
So,
deal with,
yeah.
that you can say, hey,
And
if
the
we're
lot
gonna go
across-
for the expense for the town garage,
Right.
maybe the better spot for it, or the gravel and salt storage is, say, on that 2-acre lot, or at the transfer station.
The lot across the street was a donation, and I have been trying to research to see if there was any restrictions put on that when it was donated, and I just haven't been able to find.
Put it up here and put the ball field down.
But, well, see, that's another thing too, is,
Take a
would it be
more-
worth it to do, like, maybe do some rigmarole, changeover of how things are? I know it's a big deal, but would it be worth it expense-wise down the road?
Right. Yeah.
well, we could put a salt shed down at the park. You know,
Sign me up.
How much space
Right
would they
next to the
realistically
pond.
need
We got the parking lot.
yeah.
For what?
Right there, the
for a
parking
salt
lot.
shed?
In the summertime, we can.
Vehicles are, I mean,
It's more about access than room,
We
I
could
guess,
sell
again, right?
that piece of land to the neighbor
Yeah.
where it is now, and we could,
I've been thinking about that
Land so
myself.
cheap, we could go buy another,
Good luck playing cheap.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
Ship sailed.
it might be worth it to look into all
Yeah.
of these different options as
That's
selectmen.
it, yeah. I
And just
never
think
even,
outside of the
Kenny
box,
gonna sell
like,
gravel
Right.
you know,
pit?
why be stuck
Kenny
with
can sell
that
the
one
gravel
piece
pit.
of land
There we go.
if it's
I'll
not
take that.
really working
Perfect.
for the
Right.
town?
And there might be someone in town that
yeah,
abuts that might be interested in that lot with a garage on it.
yeah. I mean,
So the transfer
Perfect
station lot
parking
is
lot.
almost 4 acres, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if you put it up there where it was a dump before, it's been
Yeah.
landfill, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's usable is what's being used right now, so.
It's a good flat area by the dumpsters, but
Right,
Yeah,
if
but
you-
he
if you
uses
put it on
that to
but
smash them
you-
down.
You'd lose
so.
the transfer station.
but we don't have any
Put
other
salt sand up there.
town-acquired land of
Big
any
enough.
size.
Nothing in size.
You got a town forest.
Pearly Mills.
sand's right there.
There you go.
There's a sand pit in there.
Yeah, why don't you just keep stirring that pot?
Don't
No,
do
but-
that, that's that snowmobile trail.
No, but this is for a non-knowledgeable question. I know it's not in the village, but that old sand pit,
Yeah.
would it not be worth it, put town garage, the salt shed and the...
Down on Rocky, off of.
No.
Hancock
Oh,
Pond Road,
Hancock Pond, I was talking
Hancock
about.
It's out of the way, but
Is that, who owns it?
the town.
Or the town does own it?
Probably Mills.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
part of the
forest.
forest.
I don't believe Luneco would let it.
No.
I can assure you that.
That would be no-no.
I want to
I
see
don't
that
think they have
sales
any say,
job.
though.
I don't think
I
they
don't
have
think
any
Winnipeg
say.
have
They
any
do.
say.
Oh, they have all
That way, but
the
they.
Yeah, they have it all.
Using the sand
Yeah, the
pit,
deed's very,
but
Yeah.
No, it's stated in
Yeah.
the
In the
easement
deed
what
that-
that sand pit can be used for.
because we,
is it deterrent? I mean, because wouldn't that be a perfect spot?
Would be, but
But
People
wouldn't you
don't
be able
have
to
it.
negotiate with them, especially with some other options that came up at that time, of which the town didn't agree with, that they have to live with? Wouldn't it be something of a negotiation point of saying, you know, we've had to deal with A, B, and C. I think that gravel pit is worth it to do what fits the town's needs.
I don't disagree with the idea of looking into it. I will almost guarantee that they'll never let that happen.
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
But
It's
wouldn't
a
it be,
traffic, it's all that sort of stuff, right? It's not
Right.
just the building, it's the, yeah,
yeah, but wouldn't it be a negotiation point?
they wouldn't care, they just say,
I know.
They hold all the cards.
right, they hold all the courts. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, but I don't disagree, it's a conversation worth having.
But wouldn't it pay, but wouldn't it be worth, like, we have to pay taxes to the town of Bridgeton?
They
Wouldn't
don't
that
care.
help offset our expenses by moving all of that over there? I know it's not in the village, it's not in whatever, but it's a gravel, I mean, you probably would have to do some site work to maybe do access and whatever, but I know it's totally out
I
of the
don't know
box.
do you know how far it is in there
Yeah, right.
I
There'd be a
mean-
lot of road to maintain to go
What,
in there.
in
Winter
winter
time.
time?
Yeah.
into
Oh,
where the pit
or
is?
could
Yeah,
you
it's a
come
haul.
straight
That's,
off?
yeah, you'd have to build that up.
And my
someday.
guess is you're probably not gonna get a commercial road permit to go by Pearly Pond.
No.
Yeah.
But
But we do have a lot of large landowners in town that,
How much do you own?
I'm gonna say, I got
You're willing to sell,
a
huh?
little 85 acres.
He's willing to
of-
sell?
Yeah.
Good
at
deal?
Twice the price.
Good deal?
Yeah.
Twice.
Best friend price?
Oh, for you, today?
You could just donate us a chunk of land.
You know, I was just thinking about that. It went right through my head.
Really quick thinking, right?
Yeah.
You all set for next week, Betty?
I am all set.
thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Anybody else?
One more thing.
Any
Your
One more
scenarios.
thing.
So your scenarios.
Oh,
I like that idea. This a little bit maybe one like bonding the salt shed.
Well, I was just going, I mean, is there any interest in finding more
I don't know. I
out
don't know a lot about
bonding?
it, how that process. But
I would say generally, if we can pay cash and don't
Right,
borrow.
I
But
agree.
where you've got a salt shed, I think the argument can be made to put it out to bond because for the next however long we take it, those people that are paying that are getting the benefit. If we pay for it or try to pay for it in 1 or 2 years, you have people that are going to benefit from that salt shed that move into town 2 years from now and will get the full benefit and have not had to
It's all right, they'll be paying for trucks
pay
and
additional in
stuff.
there.
They'll be paying for trucks
But I
instead.
like what you're saying, and I appreciate what
right.
you're saying. I would want to at least have all the information we can have about bonding that particular, it's a huge, we've never spent that kind of money on one item as long as I've been doing this job.
Same.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
correct, and I mean, I had started getting information on bonding for what you were saying, 65,000, or even if we do 100, our $65,000 payment is a lot better than putting $600,000 into.
I agree, especially 1 year, bang.
Right.
I don't disagree with that at all. I would love to get a firm, I don't know, they do like, is like a firm quote, is that what happens with this bonding agency?
If I contact them and say that we're gonna be interested, I don't think they do a spring, is it like in April?
Well, to your suggestion, that would be a good town warrant item.
What's that?
Let town people decide. They want to bond it, or they want to pay in cash, right?
Well, that's what's gonna
Right.
come up in the town
Yeah,
warrant.
I mean, that would be perfect, yeah. Hey, let
That's
the
how it's
town
gonna have to be
decide.
written. anyway.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Go with
Let them
whatever everybody wants.
decide.
Yeah,
That's, let the community.
yeah, that would make
It's a
sense.
pretty,
Taxpayers.
Don't blame us.
I'd like to know what the
That's
percentage
right.
actually
Well,
was.
yeah, whatever's
That's the way it's
chosen
supposed
by
to be.
the.
And another thing for everybody on the budget committee to think, we want Betty to check into all these other parcels of land to where we put the salt shed. If, like Luke said, it's gonna be time consuming to even get it in this year, and if we put more.
But if you don't get the ball rolling this year,
Right, that's what I'm saying, but if we put more stuff on Betty to look into other parcels of land to put that on,
right,
then we might be
She's not
farther
looking
behind.
into
So
it.
I think if we're gonna do the salt shed, get it done, get it down there, we're gonna have to do it down there, I
now,
think.
not for nothing, and I'll say this just to say it, if you put it on blocks, you can move it.
Well, that's true too.
It's gonna cost, but you can move it, and you're not putting a permanent foundation in the ground. If we think that there's any legitimacy to not utilizing the existing town public works lot.
If we had our own excavator, we could move those blocks. No,
True, not with that little wheeled excavator that's
No, I was gonna say.
that ain't gonna do the job, but there's one right next door that I'm sure could pick it up and load them on a flatbed for us. I'm just saying, right, if that's legitimate, then,
So to couple with that, if you're really suspect, even under the best circumstances, of being able to have this,
it's
By
gonna be
this-
tough to get done.
right, then
Not impossible, but tough.
do we take some time with the full intention to raise the money and do whatever we need to do for 2 years out and suffer through the winter like we did
That's what I was
this
thinking.
past year, and then really think
our-
about and
take our
plan
time
out
and do it
that
right.
lot down there. If we're gonna do, even if it's 10 years down the road, we don't want to end up a situation with, we built this salt shed, say, damn, because we put it here, now we can't do.
I also don't want to be in a situation where we had some momentum going for a town garage that pissed and died just because we couldn't, just because it was just too
Right.
big of a project, really. But, so, I would want to, just talking this through, I would almost say I want to steer towards putting it up on blocks only because you have the flexibility of being able to move it. I think that even with getting full steam ahead, you still, what do you think, Ben, a couple months out from having all the information you need to know where you want to put it, getting a quote, getting a builder to tell you what their timeline might be to put this thing up. You got till June, I bet, before you need to pull the trigger on anything.
Is that contaminated soil?
Right.
Exactly, you
Issue?
don't know.
We
You
know
don't
that that's
know.
an issue.
Yes.
the other thing with the blocks is you still have to
Build more
pour a
boards
floor.
Further from the site?
Huh?
Yeah,
You still have to have a floor.
Right, you still got to pour slab. Yeah, understood. Yeah, understood.
But when we did those soil samples, was that just in the area where we were trying to put the new garage? Will we have to have
Yes.
more soil samples to where we want the
We do.
new salt shed? And
Yes.
what are the chances that we've got?
Well, and I would say, I don't know, but the further you go towards the back of that lot, the better you're going to get, because they could tie some of that contamination to
where?
for the oil spill from across the street,
Yeah.
and then some of it to the gas pumps where they were or they are, and I don't remember which, but there was a spill there too at one point in time. So
okay.
it's a localized
Okay.
issue. The way I understood it when we were going through all that, it's a localized issue.
hope.
Even the boys themselves showed a particular area that had some pretty high levels, and then it faded away pretty quickly as you went towards
So it
the
wasn't a
acorn,
fill
if you
issue?
will. No. Well, I mean, it was. We put contaminated dirt over there, but it's not a widespread issue. It was a particular event, at least the best of our knowledge, a particular event that got put in a particular spot, and that's what that
That's
is.
what I was.
So if you're gonna put it on a
took over the
portable
park.
building a lot, wouldn't it be worth it to put it on another, if you know you're going to move it, potentially, wouldn't it be worth it to, like, say, I'm gonna just say a location, but I'm not tied to that location.
Yeah.
Say, put it at the transfer station and know that you're going to move it to wherever you permanently put the town garage, rather than have to deal with all the.
They're gonna have to do it up to the
You're gonna have to
top,
do
though.
it.
She'll have to do
wherever-
soil samples up there.
Right,
That's a
but,
landfill too,
Right.
so you're gonna have to
So,
find a spot that's
I guess what
not.
I would say, just as a quick rebuttal would be that, let's say there's a 15% chance that you're gonna put this thing at the existing location that you're at right now, right? There's in my mind, a 0% chance it's gonna end up at the landfill. So you have a 100% chance you're gonna
but
move
I
it.
wasn't tied to that. What
No,
I'm
no,
saying
I
is,
guess I'm
like,
saying
what
any
if
of those
you put-
spots.
What if you put it here someplace, I don't know where, but you know what I'm saying, like out in the front or something, I'm just saying, but just find another town piece of land where you know you're going to have to move, wouldn't it be better off there than
I guess my
where?
point is you might not have to move it at the current location.
Right.
How big is this lot?
With one down there?
This one?
Here,
This?
Oh, this ain't very
It's not
big.
very
What we
big.
see is what we have.
Develop
Yeah.
Just about what you got, yeah.
It's fenced in and
Yeah,
paved over.
the rock, the rock walls outside the ball field on both sides, that's
Yeah.
your property. That's all there is.
I'm just saying, if you're going to put it someplace, you know you're going to move it, wouldn't it be better to
So-
move it?
We
We
don't,
hope we don't have to move it down
the
there.
moving's getting way
Yeah.
ahead of
That was just
itself.
I,
an idea.
I think we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
We got
Worried about
building
No, but
moving
wouldn't
stuff.
it be worth it to look?
You gotta
at-
find land for another building. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
I would agree with what you're saying, Luke. I mean, I think it might turn out to be the best thing is put on blocks regardless, whether you're moving it or not. But
Right.
it does give you that option. But I wouldn't be too concerned about thinking about moving it.
Right.
We haven't even gotten it there
Put
yet.
it where we are.
And we don't have land there's no land for a new public garage somewhere, right? I mean, at this point, enough to fit both things.
Agreed.
So then now you're thinking about, now you have to get property, it's expensive or something. To me, that's pretty far in advance. So I think right now we just try to
I mean, I am
get
not,
this in.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not
however.
nervous that we can't fit everything on our current lot. It's just, it's going to take some planning. And for me, I would say if I would do block foundation with the thought that it's less money than a concrete foundation. I wouldn't say let's do block because it's a potential of moving it, because moving that building once we get it up,
Wouldn't be
it's
that
not.
It's like
it's-
rebuilding it again.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
The cost of the building's probably minimal compared to the labor to build it, to
Right.
move the
Yeah.
blocks.
Yeah.
so I think the
So-
decision behind
Yeah.
either block or foundation, or concrete foundation would be cost and not thinking that we might move it. My suggestion.
Yeah. It's, the only reason you wouldn't put it on blocks is because you think there's a real issue with it moving. Right? Heaving, settling,
Right.
whatever you think the case may be. Right? And that's all gonna be a question of how well you
Proper.
prep the land below the slab, because it's gonna end up sitting on the slab, yes, no, maybe? Or is this, or do the blocks create a form for the slab to be poured
That's,
against?
you need a pretty
It's-
thick
that's up
slab
to
put
us.
those
Okay,
blocks
so,
on.
so whether you sit them on dirt or sit them on concrete, that's something you guys gotta think about, because that will.
More
and
than
I know- and I
So
know
the
you know all that.
initial conversation
Well, I
with the
would put
person
that
who's
down
given us
44
this
and
quote
something.
would be that we would have a slab poured, they would set the blocks, but then we'd probably also do another floor inside.
Okay.
You know, so do a thinner, then
These
do
are stuck
on
up.
top.
Soil,
That slab on the bottom, and
topsoil.
put something inside, put the,
The
so,
Just so there's a nice
The temporary
even
building we have
base
now.
for blocks to start
There's
with.
blocks on that one.
because I think if we
Oh,
had
yeah,
4
right.
years to figure out what we wanted to do, I think, it would be great to be able to look a little deeper and plan a little better, but fortunately, nobody wants to be rushed, but you're pressed for time with this one.
What's the land like behind the town garage and who owns it?
Keel.
Keel.
Keel? And is
That
it,
property was all owned by CB Cummins at one time.
so is it just as wet out back?
No, the wettest spot
Starts
was where
going
we,
uphill.
Is where we
put
are.
the garage.
It goes uphill after.
I just
Is that
wondered
an option to?
if there's any
cut
option of
him
going
about
backwards
an acre or
farther.
two adjacent to that or
Yeah, it's
something?
wet
Start
out
to
there a
get some
little bit, then it starts to
elevation.
go
Yeah,
Bigger,
uphill.
starts to
bigger
go
piece
uphill.
of property?
Starts to go uphill
Betty?
pretty good, yeah.
Is that an
Oh, it
option?
does.
I mean, obviously, I could just say, no, sorry, but I mean, as to Leanne says, as far as just like options, even if it's 2 acres or something that doesn't affect whatever the land is contiguous and
But we
whatnot,
give them-
whatever.
Would give the town more public works.
It would give,
department
it
more
would, then you
space,
know you're
more
building
options.
everything there if you're building anything in the future. You know, I mean, it's not, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Well, I
Right,
think out
as you
behind
said.
though, there's
I
a,
don't know. I don't know what's, I don't know.
isn't there
the
a
lay of
ditch
the
to
land.
for the water runoff?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you have to do something.
So I don't think you
Yeah,
can
you
fill
just
it in,
move-
could you?
Well,
You just
Yeah,
move
You
it
can fill it in,
back.
could you?
Move it back.
yeah.
Move
Yeah.
it back?
Just fill it in.
With an
Well,
EPA permit.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, that'd be quite a process to do that too.
Yeah, I don't know what the
DP
land is.
permit.
I think we're just gonna do what we got. Do what we got.
I'm counting on you, some of that land.
Yeah, I think that's a good option.
Donate.
Well, you get my daughter to agree to it.
8:20, anything further?
I 3 times. Let's do a joint.
Second, vote.
You know, 8 I did it at 7:30, you know?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, folks. We'll see you in a week.